Hello, stunners. Welcome to the end of all things. If you're new here, hi, I'm jitterrue, and I'm your diva for romance games, dating sims, otome games, and the like. I'm extremely obsessed with them. I love to play these games, and I love to talk about them. And if that sounds good to you, consider giving me a subscribe, a like, and all those kinds of things. Hi! Welcome, everybody. Hello, Yuri Tashima. Well, yes, now that you're here, I suppose we can get the party started. Hi, Justana. So happy to see you. Oh my god, it's going to be so good today. Hello. Hi, Sephryu. Yay! I'm so happy you're here. Y'all, this is going to be so good. We are here for the grand finale of Magnus's Route in Gilded Shadows. We do not end the stream tonight until we have completed this route. We're gonna find out what happens in the end. I cannot frickin' wait. I've been dreaming about this. I've been literally having dreams about this game because I can't wait. I've been like theorizing, speculating in my brain late at night, trying to think, oh my God, what's gonna happen? Listen, okay. Welcome to the grand finale of Magnus's Route, all endings. That's right. Not only are we going to complete this, we are going to then go back and see, by making other choices, the alternate endings. We're going to see whatever we get naturally, and then we're going to go back and we're going to collect all the endings. And last time in this sci-fi romance visual novel, we went all in with Magnus, and I do mean all in. We ran away together. We eloped, basically. And we also went full spice. I toggled the spice like all the way on. I did that. But we're not done yet, okay? There's still a lot we need to find out about Magnus, about the council, about all of our friends. And we need to find out what's going to happen between MC and Endgame. All right, y'all. Well, if you're just as excited as I am, why don't we go ahead and stop blabbering and let's get on with it. Let's go. Here we go. Ooh, that's quite a spicy chapter title. A King's Attack. Get him. The wastes were strange. In the domes, it didn't matter that the planet was locked in a perpetual day or night. The biofield was able to simulate a day and night cycle well enough that the outside didn't matter. But when I woke up, I was greeted by the same reddish hue of evening I'd gone to sleep to. I was thrown off. When I checked my system clock, it was 6 o'clock, though it didn't feel like it. I'd slept for about 5 hours. And Magnus was already up, which surprised me. Then again, I guess he didn't sleep much. I reached for the wrinkled pillow where he'd been earlier to find it was cool to the touch. So, he'd been up for at least a little while. With a soft groan, I stretched and wriggled off of the bed. It was comfortable, and I'd love to lie there longer, but I felt I should get up. I stretched again, reaching for the clothes I'd stripped out of the night before going to sleep. Yeah, sure, that's what it said. I suppose the good news was that I was not, in fact, incarcerated, and there were no agents looming over me ready to take me into custody. Yeah, nobody's sneaking into the bedroom to attack. Not that I ever thought I'd wake up and have to be grateful for that. But that meant Endgame hadn't found us yet, so I expected Magnus would wake me up before that happened. Assuming he was still keeping an eye on their movements, but even he had to sleep. Wonder where he went, though. Of course we wake up and he's gone. That always happens. On my way to the kitchen, I paused to check the bathroom, but it was empty. I didn't see him in the main living area either. There were no signs of him anywhere, and the house wasn't that large. Hesitant, As I was to snoop through a stranger's home, I wandered through the small habitat to check for him. Welcome, Milky. Woo! Welcome, I'm so glad you're here. You just woke up from nap time to join. Excellent, excellent. Magnus? I called out awkwardly, listening for any signs of movement. There were none. Magnus? Where did he go? He ditched me. And no response. This wasn't the only building on the little plot of land. It was possible he had gone exploring, or that his friend had returned. The only thing holding me back from messaging him was that I didn't know it was safe. Even with Magnus's ability, wasn't it possible they could monitor communications, or track them somehow? I didn't know enough about it or about Endgame's full capabilities when it came to things like monitoring the nanosystem. Magnus hadn't said I couldn't send messages. There also hadn't been much of a reason to say it. Without knowing how risky it was, I hesitated. Well, for now, I'd just look around for him. It wasn't a big area anyway. Surely he was around somewhere. I half expected to find him lounging in that pool or something else ridiculous, but as I opened the door to a burst of dry wind, I didn't immediately see him. There were other buildings nearby, though, the greenhouse and another one. I stepped out, holding a hand up as I looked towards the sun hanging low above the flat-topped rock formations in the distance. Mesas? Buttes? I wasn't sure what they were called. The desolate landscape cast in long shadows lived up to its name. Beautiful, vast, and somehow lonely. Aren't they called plateaus? I don't remember. I know I learned that in school what that type of typography was. Or geography. Typography. Magnus? It felt like my call was swallowed up by the wind and empty space around me, and for the first time I realized how small and isolated I was in this place. There was an odd excitement pulling at me as I crossed the reddish soil to the greenhouse. The sky that arched overhead felt huge, endless, and I was so tiny and exposed beneath it. It was amazing what a difference it was to stand there under the real sky without the faint traces of the biofield structure marking it. Wind clawed at my hair, carrying with it an unfamiliar scent of dirt and sand and, I assumed, something from the scrubby trees that clumped together as a bulwark against the constant breeze. Is this writing not gorgeously stunning? I loved it, and I had to force myself not to just stop and stare at every little thing. I know, right? Way to raise the bar. But soon I was distracted again, looking for Magnus, because he was nowhere to be found, not in the greenhouse for sure. It was sealed, but I could peer inside. The other building was sealed as well, but it was dark and silent. It wasn't until I turned around to go back to the main building that I realized the car was missing. My stomach fluttered anxiously when I realized he wasn't wandering or exploring. He left. Magnus, how could you leave me here? All alone? What the hell, Magnus? Right after we boned last night, too. How dare? It's always like that. Doubts crashed in as all sorts of horrible possibilities began to play out in my mind. He left me. But why? To go where? It wasn't like he had just popped off to a shop for breakfast or something. I doubted there was anything around for kilometers. I stood staring at the empty spot where the car had been until I finally tired of my hair blowing into my face. I get tired of that too. I eventually returned to the habitat and flopped onto the sofa, trying to work out the most likely possibilities. Like, where the hell is this man? How dare you smash and dash on me? How dare you? He better not have gone far. Listen, okay. He better have just gone out for some breakfast or something. Go find me some coffee or something like that. He better be off to do that, okay? He better get his ass back here ASAP, all right? Otherwise, he's gonna have some hell to pay, all right? Okay? I didn't have much to go on. It didn't make sense that he'd abandon me here. Probably. I didn't think he had anything to gain from it, for one. But more than that, I didn't think he'd do it after last night. Or all the days leading up to it. Magnus was a decent liar when he wanted to be. I'd witnessed that firsthand. But only when he was hiding behind that wall he kept up with the others. He really do be the in and out type of guy. That's what he did. He was like, I'm in and now I'm out. How dare. And I'd become good at detecting when he was letting his guard down. Perhaps I was putting too much faith in myself, but I felt like I'd know if yesterday was a lie. And I just didn't believe he was that kind of man. Yeah, he really loves us, right? I believe he does love us, okay? But he is trifling right now because where is he? Besides, what would be the point of bringing me out here? Having a tryst on someone else's sofa and then dumping me? Yeah, no, why? Yeah, why would you do that? On someone else's sofa, no less. There was no logic in going through everything we'd gone through to get here, only to ditch me. If he took the car, then it must mean there was somewhere nearby he wanted to get to. Another habitat, maybe. It better be breakfast. He could have gone to meet up with his friend. Somewhere else. Yeah, maybe that he's meeting up with his friend. Yeah, that seemed the most likely conclusion. I feel like MC is really spiraling right now. Girl is spiraling. I don't blame you. So if that was the case, I'd have appreciated a message. Though it's possible he thought he'd be back before I got up. Yeah, we're at a friend's house. We escaped Endgame. We ran away together, and he took us to, he said, I know a friend outside the dome, you know? And this is their place. And when we arrived, the friend was nowhere to be seen. And it's been the whole night. We smashed, we went to bed together, we slept, you know, after we did the thing on the couch. And now I'm waking up the next morning and I haven't seen the friend, and I haven't seen Magnus. Where the hell did he go? Though it's possible he thought he'd be back before I got up. Yeah. In the friend's house. On the friend's couch. We didn't even know if the friend would be back or not. There's like a storm outside or something like that. Magnus was like, oh, there's a storm. And we're like, oh, Magnus, what if your friend comes back while we're, you know, we're like in the middle of doing this? And he was like, oh, then he'll be coming home to quite a shock then, wouldn't he? And I was like, oh, and then MC had a thought like, maybe we shouldn't do this. But then, you know what? He was shirtless, he was hot, you know, and he knew what he was doing. And then all thoughts had empty. No thoughts. Gone. Yep, that's what happened. You'd be getting the friend a new couch. They're probably never even going to tell him, you know? He's not going to know. I'd only slept a few hours, or it could mean that communicating over the nano system wasn't safe. Or he could have just forgotten. That would definitely be in character. Would it be, though? So what was I supposed to do now? Message him anyway. Wait for him to come back and hope he did. I could also attempt to locate him. I couldn't say I'd ever used my psi to look for someone before, but it was obviously something that was possible. But I also didn't know if it came with any risks of its own. My biggest fear was revealing our location by mistake, and it was making me afraid to do much of anything beyond sit here and wait for him to come back. I can wait for him a little while before doing anything, or I can go find him. Listen, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and wait for him. He's trifling, okay? I'm gonna go find his ass right now. Where the hell are you? And why did you ditch me like that? You better have gone out for coffee and a scone, okay? Otherwise, we about to have words, Magnus. Listen, I still love him, okay? I still love him. But he better have gone out for coffee. But I still couldn't help but feel that finding him was the most important thing right now. He tapped out after tapping. Exactly. And I had to admit that it was better than waiting without knowing anything. When I find him, I'm definitely going to tell him off. Yes, girl, tell him. Tell him off. If I found him, I suppose. Magnus had said before that it could be difficult to locate someone with psi if you didn't already have a good idea where they were. And that was for someone as experienced as Ari. I, on the other hand, had never done it before. Ever. But even though I wasn't sure how, I had a better idea than just expanding my sphere and hoping for the best. Though I didn't know how useful of an idea it would prove to be. I was still going to have to wing it without someone else to help me figure it out. I was thinking about this yesterday, ways that Endgame might be able to track us. In our case, we had used teleportation and Magnus had kept our destination a secret from me. It annoyed me at the time, but I realized later there might have been a reason for that beyond him just being secretive. Are those hot tubs? If it was, that's kind of awesome. Endgame had entire teams of psychometrics. It's probably just water. Any bishop with a lot of skill when it came to post-cognition might be able to find information about where we were headed if they spent time in the places that we'd last been seen. Not actually saying those locations out loud might have helped avoid that, especially since we had used teleportation to get from location to location. I assumed that would cut off our connection to give a place and diminish the chances that they could follow us with psychometry. But today, Magnus had driven the car. If I could get a psychometric lock on him and just follow it, like Ariadne's thread. Ooh, in Greek mythology, Ariadne was turned into a spider. And that's where the thread came from. It was like a competition to see who could thread better. Who was the god that she was competing with again? I can't remember. It was a weaving competition, right? It was Athena. Thank you, Yuri. It might be more effective than trying to scan the area at random with a large sphere. That was how it was going to work in theory, anyway. It wasn't like I'd ever tried anything like this. I hoped that if I could visualize it, I could make it work. The only way to find out was to try it, so I went to stand about where the car had been earlier. Yuri says she weaved scene of the male gods making heroes. Oh yeah, it's starting to come back to me. I remember a long time ago when I was in high school, I drew a really cool picture of Ariadne in the midst of becoming a spider, and she was crying, you know, because it was a sad myth. I have that picture still. I just colored pencil, pen, you know. It was long before there was digital art, you know. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, letting my sigh expand. We're in psychic mode now. This time, I wasn't trying to perceive my current surroundings in the present, but rather how they had been a few hours prior. In my mind, it was like picturing a little window that allowed me to peer backwards in time. At first, there was nothing, and then I caught sight of a small swirl of violet sky and homed in on that. A trace left behind by Magnus. Then a stream of images hit me. Magnus letting himself out of that habitat. Standing and looking towards the horizon, I found him. Getting into the car and driving away. But that wasn't enough. I couldn't find him just from knowing the direction he started off at. As I watched the image play out, it was as if I could see a sort of trail he left behind, like an echo of his movements, a psychic trace that might lead me to him as I'd hoped. Instead of recklessly expanding my sphere, I let myself follow that trail mentally. His destination wasn't far. There was a structure hidden in those nearby peaks, old, alien, falling down and obscured by rubble and old rocks. Anyone who didn't know it was there could be hard-pressed to locate it. And that was his destination. I sort of flashed back to the present, the jolt of it shaking my body. That actually worked. So now I knew where he went, and based on what I saw, probably still was. Walking would take a while, but I could teleport myself. You can't escape me, Magnus. Trying to run off? How dare? Listen, okay, I'm gonna track your ass down with my psychic abilities, and then I'm gonna teleport to your ass. You think you can hide from me? Yeah, right. Whatever he was doing, I didn't want him to isolate himself and do it alone again. He'd been trying to solve things and manage it all from the shadows and alone for far too long. We just had this talk, and yet he was still at it again. How dare? It was enough already. So now I knew where I was going. Yep, we tracked him down, y'all. We found Magnus with psychic ability, and now we're gonna go teleport and go find his ass. I looked towards those peaks in the distance and released my sphere again, aiming just for them instead of expanding it in an even radius. That should make focusing a little easier. When the remnants of that strange structure came into view, I targeted a location slightly inside it. Welcome back, Stucky. We found him, Stucky, and now we've teleported over to him. I wish I could teleport in real life, seriously. Let's take a look at this background because I've never seen it before and it's really cool looking. Wow. Look how it's glowy. Are we inside of a tree? It kind of looks like we're inside of like an ancient tree or maybe an ancient fossilized structure on the inside of a mountain or something like that. Kind of like a cave. There seems to be some sort of pattern on the ground. Interesting. And it seems to have some kind of an organic tree-like pattern on the walls, almost in a dome shape, but like a cave. And then there seems to be a tunnel leading out towards the light. I wonder where on earth we are. Maybe he left you so that you would figure out teleportation. Oh no, he already knows that we can teleport. I don't know why he left us. I think he left us to go do something shady. Or to maybe, I don't know, throw Endgame off their game without us. Maybe he's trying to, you know, be a hero and do it all on himself, you know? He does tend to take responsibility for things that aren't his fault. Or, you know, he does seem to try to, now that he's in love with us, he does try to protect us in his own way, even though he's also a master manipulator. We found that out. He's definitely manipulative. He's a liar. He's a very good liar. He's a little bit of a gaslighter. Or both. Hi, Eshberry. Welcome, your stunner. Esh is the dev of this game, y'all. And we are just taking a look at this background and admiring how stunning it is. It's really cool. Speculating on what kind of location this might potentially be. I can definitely see some, looks like ancient alien markings on the floor. Speaking of ancient aliens, I love that show, Ancient Aliens. I've watched so much of Ancient Aliens. I mean, real, do they even lift? The first thing that hit me was the faint scent of dust, then the hum of machinery. Oh, machinery. I took a moment to get my bearings. It was disorienting to abruptly change locations like that, even when I knew it was coming. When my eyes adjusted, I recognized the architecture right away. This was Thalosan in origin, wasn't it? You love how corny Ancient Aliens is? So do I. Older Thalosan too, given the Aryan influences and the overall design of the structure, but it lacked Aryan symbols. So it was built after their culture had vanished. Where in the world am I? It makes you sad how very, very sketchy Magnus is, says Milky. I want so much to believe in him. I do too, Magnus. Magnus, why? Why did you have to ditch us like that? Listen, here, Ash, I woke up, he wasn't there. He ditched me. And I was like, listen, you better be out for coffee and a scone, okay? You better be getting me breakfast for aftercare, okay? And you better get your ass back here. And then when I had a choice between wait it out or go find him, I was like, hell no, I'm not waiting it out. I'm gonna go track that man down and bring his ass right back over here. Yep, that's what I was like. We're going to get him. You can't just ditch me like that. You cannot smash and dash. It is not okay. I will not allow it. I'm going to track your ass down. I wanted to look around, but I was here for a purpose, and so started deeper into the structure. I do need a side-eye emoji. What could Magnus have been seeking here? I was tempted to try to see if I could find the echo of him again, to see what path he'd taken, but as far as I could see, there was only one path to follow anyway. At first I didn't realize it, but I was walking on a slight downward slope, an underground facility in the wastes. Is it still active? We did hear the humming of machinery. My mind and heart were racing as a few possibilities dawned on me. Magnus might be planning something big and something very unfortunate. I have a feeling he really might be. Oh God, Magnus, what are you doing? I'm unsure how long I walked before I heard the voices. 5 minutes? Maybe 10? I slowed my steps, pausing to listen to the indistinct murmur of conversation. There's more than one person here. I did my best to muffle my footsteps, then went further into the facility. He did say exactly what he was planning at one point earlier. He did? I'm trying to rack my brain and think back to things he said in the past. He did mention one time, like, we should run away into the wastes. He did say that. I do remember that. He dropped it really casually. He's gonna try to kill the council, isn't he? That's what he wants to do. He wants to kill him. He wants to go murk the council. He wants to destroy the council. That's what he wants to do. That's what I think he's gonna do. Until the voices became clear enough for me to recognize one of them. Magnus. It looked like the passage opened into a wider room ahead, and conscious of the fact I'd stalked him to some secret location, I decided not to just burst in and demand answers. I flattened myself against the wall and crept closer to the entrance. I like how this looks so ancient. It's really cool. All that was visible to me was a small slice of the room beyond. I can't deny, oh, this is the unknown man. Okay. Hi, I'm an unknown man. I can't deny I've been disappointed with the way things were flowing for some time, though I may fail to grasp the finer details of some of the problems. But the slow draining of compassion, the death grip on a cause over the well-being of people, that I have seen myself. The purpose of Endgame has become warped, and the method they use to achieve that purpose, even more so. That is just a passage of time in the end. Nothing stays pure forever.
But I never meant to chain anyone down to some greater purpose. That wasn't the reason I began all of this.
Began all of this? My stomach fluttered with anxiety as it seemed like my initial feeling might be correct. Was it possible this was Avalon? If so, that would mean the person Magnus was talking to was King. That could make sense with our location, but I was sure there was another person in there with him, as in a physical body. I could sense them even through the walls. That didn't make sense if he was talking with an AI. The voice also sounded organic, not synthetic. If you understand the situation, then...
I admit, it has been a struggle to watch you deal with the growing problems, though I'm sure you also understand why my hands are tied.
Yuri's like, I was not ready for that voice. I was like, you know what? Why not? I don't know who this person is. So for the time being, they're going to get that voice. And then I'll probably turn it off later once I actually see what they look like, and then can determine what voice they ought to have. I understand why you've chosen to tie them.
Well, isn't that something covered in your history books after all?
There was a brief silence. Then...
Is your companion going to stay in the hall and listen? I'd enjoy meeting her face to face.
I got caught. They knew I was there the whole time. I froze, breath catching in my throat. Companion? I didn't. He stopped, and there was an audible sigh. Rue, you're there, aren't you? Oh, yes, I am, Pookie. How dare you try to sneak off without me? How dare you? Wow. I'm terrible at stealth, apparently. Also, Magnus, you can't hide from me, okay? You tried to get away. Listen, okay? I ain't no spring chicken. And I also figured out my abilities, okay? I'm pretty crafty. You can't hide from me. Get your ass back over here. I know, right? Lol, Pookie. I braced myself for what I assumed would be disapproval from Magnus and stepped around the corner. Oh, hello, sir. Look at this cutie. Is this a dateable character or just a side character? Because he's kind of hot, I'm not going to lie. Look at those ice gray eyes. A Magnus move, totally. I suppose I should have expected you to find me. You are exceptionally talented after all. Yep. He sounds annoyed. Ooh, he is dateable. He's on the title screen. Yes! Yes! My God! I like Magnus better without the braid. I like his hair down too. I like the braid too, but I do like it better down as well. It's sexier. Exceptionally talented, yes, and exceptionally apprehensive when left alone in a strange place with no message or note where you'd gone. Is that so?
You left her alone without a message. Honestly, Magnus, even I realized that would be disconcerting.
You have a nice house. I thought she'd be fine. Magnus, that's not the point. Oh, I was fine. Just annoyed. Yeah, that part. Wait, what did Magnus just say? Nice house? Then this was Deimos? But that didn't make sense. Who is this man? My sudden confusion must have been evident. He gave Magnus a slight smile.
Isn't it customary for there to be introductions at this point?
This is my friend. He goes by Lance these days, though in the past he's used several others. The man came towards me, his smile softening. I hadn't paid much attention to him at first. Is he the king? He's the other king, right? Or he's AI, isn't he? Oh wait, this is the guy that we tap on the couch? Yeah, this is his couch. It was his place. Yep. Okay, I don't think it works that way, Yuri. Esh says Lance is complicated, but yes, it was his sofa. What is Lance? But now, I noticed the faded hair and eyes first of all. And when I took his hand, I noted the faint lines around the joints. Cybernetics.
Jitterrue, I already know your name. I'm pleased to finally meet you. You look like you have many questions.
I do. So many. Esh says, well, I did say Maggie times Lance times Morgan is the only poly ship I think would work in this game, so maybe it could. Not Maggie times Caleb times Morgan. Times Lance.
Such as the nature of this place, the nature of myself.
Yes, that's exactly what I want to know. I want to know, what is your nature, sir? Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just all of them. We could have a harem. How about we have 9 husbands? Can we do that? 9 of them. 9 husbands. Among other things, yes.
This place is a control hub for the planetary AI, and the central location for the mainframe the AI controls. Well, it's a bit of a back entrance, since the main location was destroyed some time ago. I thought Magnus would come here, so I decided to wait here instead of at my house. Your people dubbed it Avalon when they arrived on this world.
My people? What do you mean, my people? Who are you?
Magnus already told you my current name. In another life, I was called Deimos. Deimos. Imagine that was an echo. And yet, in another, king.
What? What was that? What does that mean? It means what it sounds like it means. If you recall the story I told you about Deimos Fianchetto, an F-class king rank who disappeared and was thought dead. Lance has only fractured memories from that time. What I left out of the story was that someone attempted to use him to find the location of Avalon, but lost track of him at some point as he wandered the wastes. He doesn't know how long he wandered, but he did find this place eventually, or one of the entrances to it. And he somehow fused himself with the AI when trying to take it over. Fused with the AI? Is that even possible?
Well, here I am. I suppose that's answer enough.
The best I can hypothesize is that when trying to take over and gain control of the AI, somehow Deimos lost himself to the process. His personality merged with the AI's programming, and a new identity was created. That identity resides almost entirely in Lance's body, but retains a full connection to the mainframe as King did. Either way, the man is, for all intents and purposes, the remnant of the planetary AI, and the person that was Deimos Fianchetto. How old is this guy? He sounds like he must be ancient.
That's an old story, though. I'd love to give you the details of it, but we're a bit pressed for time, are we not?
Pressed for time? Why? Endgame has figured out our location. Not down to the exact coordinates yet, but they've at least worked out that we are in the vicinity of Avalon, and are working to get a lock on our exact whereabouts. So, that's why you left this morning. Correct. To what purpose, though?
Ah, that. I believe Magnus came to do something he might regret later on. Isn't that right, Magnus?
Regrets are normal. Anyone who says they have no regrets is either lying or a psychopath. There's some truth to that statement.
I suppose that's probably true.
What are you planning to do? There is only one thing a king-ranked Esper would want to do in this location. You intend to take control of the AI. You're close, but not quite there yet. My goal isn't to take over the AI, or take over the mainframe itself. I intend to dismantle it and give individual domes complete control of their systems, while ensuring planet-wide control is no longer possible from any single location. You know what? I feel like I can get behind that, considering how Endgame is and how they have way too much freaking power. I feel like I could be in agreement with that strategy, honestly. Give the power back to the people, right? Give the control back to the localities, the local governments, you know? What could possibly be the rationale behind that? Because without a mainframe, there will be no need for a planetary AI. And without the AI, there is no need for Endgame's espers. You must understand that there are only a few reasons people seek to control the AI, Rue. For power. The first is the ease by which you can control the mainframe. Without the AI, you need a massive team of people to manage it. The second, more nefarious reason is that the AI can access and control the nanosystem down to an individual level. So you could, control the actions of other people. Because everybody has nanos in their bodies. And the third is that the AI acts as a security measure for the mainframe. It's pointless to try to take over the mainframe when the AI can keep you out with ease. The mainframe and the AI go hand in hand. That is why my goal is to destroy one and dismantle the other. Only when I remove Endgame's core purpose can I rebuild the organization with a better purpose. Because as long as the AI exists, Endgame will be ruthless in their adherence to their ideal and trample anyone who gets in the way. All in the name of global peace. I thought, maybe, for a while, I thought there might be another option. I wanted there to be another option. One where we could walk away. To be able to go somewhere with you when no one knew us. And we could just live. That's what I wanted. But no. They couldn't let it go. Of course they couldn't. We're too dangerous, you and I. In their mind, there would always be a threat of us coming to this place. It is a loose end, and they could not simply leave alone. But isn't a flaw of this plan that you have to destroy the AI? You're talking about killing someone. And then you have to try to maintain the mainframe alone. Wait, would that kill your friend Deimos? Lance? Would that endanger Lance? The switch over to a system where individual domes have control isn't going to be easy, and it'll alert the entire planet to the fact something is going on here. There will be protests and... I'm aware of all the intricacies. This isn't a plan I came up with overnight. I've thought of this for many, many years. The fact that Deimos and King merged in the first place opens the possibilities. Are you intending to merge with Lance? Not quite. Merge with Lance?
I still don't think you have what it takes to be a tyrant.
Tyrant? Humans are capable of a great deal when their hand is forced. I don't think you're capable of murdering your friend. I don't intend to murder him. Deimos merged with King. I intend to absorb him completely and gain full control of the mainframe long enough to dismantle it. Is he gonna start villain laughing? I'm going to take control of the mainframe. And then I'm going to destroy it. I'm going to merge with my friend. I'm going to take over this planet. I'm going to distribute all of the power to the small people. There will be no more domes. And there's nothing you can do to stop me. Yes, yes, yes. That's what he's like, you know. He's like, I'm going to dismantle. I'm going to take down the superpower, and then I'm going to give it to the small people, you know, the everyday communities. They're going to have the power now. Aha! Yes. He's giving villain vibes, but in a weirdly Robin Hood kind of a way. Exactly. Isn't that the same as death? I don't know. But we can no longer afford to indulge the reticent god of this world while everyone fights to control him.
I've lived a long time, just like Morgan Freeman. I am ancient. I am eternal. In the age of the dinosaurs, I was alive, and I was old and wise. And a millennia later, I am still old, and I am still wise. Morgan Freeman. Yes, I've lived a very long time, but it's still a little scary to hear you say something like that.
I know, right? Esh says, I was laughing when you picked that voice for Lance. It's fitting somehow. You know, I decided to stick with it because once we found out he was ancient, okay, right? We saw that he was ancient. We saw that he's like an AI, you know, like he's like merged with the AI. So he needs to have like an older, a wise, a powerful, deep Morgan Freeman type of a voice, okay, that has a little bit of a tinge of a tinge of a digitalness to it, you know? This voice, I think it's perfect. Yep. Lance and his Morgan Freeman vibes. Yep, exactly. GMB's laughing. You know what, Yuri? I also like older men. Agreed. Ancient, I don't care. You could be ancient. That's fine with me. I like that. I like ancient men. Okay. Yuri says he's not ancient. He's experienced. And I want to experience that. Right, Esh? He didn't get that much experience when he was a computer, Yuri. Just saying. His only experience comes from when he was a mafia prince. He was a mafia prince? What? How can you talk about it so casually?
I don't mean to be casual about it.
You were casually discussing it when I arrived. Look, there has to be a less drastic solution here. I'd rather turn myself in before... No! Okay, calm down, Magnus. No. That is not an option. What you're discussing shouldn't be an option either. Why not? Turning yourself in won't do a shred of good. Look at what they do. Use people, create people. Make grandiose judgment calls of right or wrong. They peel back the future and decide for everyone what the right path is. See, y'all? For those of you who may have missed this detail earlier, Magnus is actually a clone. He is a clone. And then his entire life, he has been hyper-controlled by this council who's only wanted to use him because of his king abilities to have power over machinery. And then stuff went down, and not only is he a clone, and who knows what they did with all the failed clones. Probably just got rid of him. They wiped his memory. They wiped his memory, a clean slate. They gave him complete amnesia. After that, they continued to just completely control this man to the nth degree and not allow him to have any kind of agency. He couldn't have a real life. He couldn't make his own decisions. So he's done. He's done being controlled, okay? He is ready to make anything possible. He's ready to do anything at this point to make it stop and to punish the council. It's not just about becoming free for himself and escaping. He's past that. He wants them to suffer. He wants them to suffer. And then he wants to give the power to the people. The people that have been overly controlled by this government. Esh says, also, I just realized that line about peeling back the future and deciding what the right path is basically the plot of When Stars Collide. Really? Y'all, I do need to play When Stars Collide later. So, yeah. Yeah, Magnus told you once that the Fianchettos were in charge of Crimson, a huge crime family. Oh, right, I remember that. And Deimos was the eldest son. Okay, got it. Yuri is like, what? I could have been a Donna. Keres, Fianchetto, Deimos, and Case's father, is one of the most lusted after side characters. And you still could be. You could still be a Donna. Okay, Magnus is like, you know what? No. We're going with my plan. I don't want to go with your plan. Okay? We're not turning ourselves in. Who gave them, or anyone else, the right to play God? Isn't that what you're trying to do? Because Endgame uses this shield of protecting the AI. The idea this peacekeeping is meant to keep people from turning their eyes back to this place. This place that everyone wants. This place that people are willing to go to war for. And they call it a greater good. The moment you are willing to sacrifice someone, it can no longer be called good. You know what? He's dropping some truth bombs, you know? That's what you're gonna do. Ha ha ha. Yes, that's right. Unlike King, I'm not a pacifist. There's no other way to break Endgame apart. There's no other way to stand up to them. With this, they'll have no choice but to listen. And if I have to, I'll destroy that place until there's nothing left. Is this another? Who's this person? We can't let you do that! Who are you? Another unknown man. Caleb! Not just Caleb. The rest of the guard was with him too. Wait, they're against this because they're part of Endgame and they actually like Endgame? They don't want to see it dismantled. It's Caleb! I see. It seems you found our exact location. Do we have Ari to thank for this? Yes, but I only searched for you after the council announced internally that you'd been found. Oh. We came on our own, you shitty excuse for a leader. Everyone hates Magnus now, officially. It's everyone except against Magnus. It's Magnus against the world. That's what's happening right now. Goodness, you're already starting in, Mara. You just got here. We haven't even had a proper round of introductions yet. They don't hate him, they just want to beat him up a little. What the actual hell do you think you're doing, Magnus? Language, Mara. Hell's about 2 steps behind us, Magnus. So you better explain yourself fast. If you've come this far, you probably already know what I'm planning to do. Do I need to explain it? Damn it, Magnus. Why did you have to drag Rue into this too? Ah, to be correct, the council dragged her into it. After they decided to incarcerate her, I merely suggested it was time for us to leave. Why didn't you come to us, either of you? Magnus said, "You're capable of making your own decisions, Rue." I didn't know what to do. Girl, are we throwing Magnus under the bus? I went with Magnus willingly. I didn't know what he was planning to do, but I did escape with him willingly. I chose to escape with him. Okay? I knew he was up to something. I didn't know what it was. But listen, girl. We knew we couldn't completely trust this man, and yet we came out here with him. We helped him get here. We brought him here. See, they're not mad because they disagree. They're mad you didn't bring them with you. Oh! Ever since you grabbed me off the street, I've just been trying to make it moment to moment. I know this is old hat for all of you, but I haven't spent years training to deal with unexpected and dangerous situations. What was I supposed to do when the ruling body of the most powerful organization on this planet decided I'm an enemy? I didn't know if I could trust y'all, frankly. But if you brought everyone, you wouldn't have been able to bone on the sofa, so... True. True, okay, we had to make Smash happen. Smash had to happen. No, Yuri, no. No. Horny jail for you. You go to horny jail. An organization all of you are a part of. Should I have expected you to go into full rebellion for my sake? Why the hell do you think we're here right now, knowing full well the Furies will be here any minute? Rue, sweetie, trust us a little, and don't develop this guy's nasty habit of doing things alone. I love that they're here for me. They're on our side. They're on our side. They want to help. Yeah, you got auto-modded for that one. But I allowed it. Yeah, Lance can handle MC and Maggie for boning on the sofa. And Orgy might have shocked him, though. Yeah, like, Lance would have been like, you know, he might have been a little surprised, but he'd have been like, I might be okay with this, you know? But if everybody was there, if there was, like, how many people are here? How many of them are there? If we were all boning on the sofa, he might not have liked that very much. Real. I mean, I think a little insurrection would be good for the council, right, Mara? Automod is fighting for its life right now. God. Y'all. Well, anyways, Yuri's gonna buy a new couch, apparently. Because Yuri has gone unhinged. Yuri is off the rails. Automod is the one shocked. Real. A little insurrection will be good for them. That's so funny. Well, I can't say I don't agree. As touching as this is, I do believe we should prepare to defend Magnus and Rue from the Furies. They will arrive soon. And protect the mainframe from this dumbass until we can sit him down and talk him off the ledge. That's reasonable. Lance gave an amused little wave when Caleb gestured to him. Also, who the hell is this guy? You know him as King, and I'm afraid I don't intend to be dissuaded as easily as all that. This guy is the planetary AI. I'm sure there will be time for explanations later. They're here. Get outside and keep them from this place. They can't find out about Lance and... I glanced at Magnus. If we weren't careful, he'd do something drastic before anyone could talk him out of it. Understood. I'll stay here and shield this place for now. The rest of you try to get them to retreat long enough. We can come up with a plan of action. Ari, Caleb, and the others were gone in a flash. Van stood by the door, a bright shield crackling to life around the room. It should keep them out for a while, even the nights.
Perhaps this would be easier if we move forward with Magnus's plan. I do not want any of you to fight with one another.
No way. I have no idea what the hell you three were talking about before we got here, but if you're who you say you are, I can only imagine what Magnus' plan entailed for you. Van is right. I don't think... Magnus moved before I could finish. At the same time, there was an explosion in the hall that rocked the floor and almost sent me to the ground. Magnus, what are you doing? He's using his powers. I've never seen his eyes glow like that. Magnus, settle down. No! He's merging with him, isn't he? He's merging. Magnus, wait! There has to be another way. There has to be another way. Magnus, I love you, okay? I can't lose you. I can't lose you. What will happen to you in the true essence of you if you do this? I staggered to my feet, lurching toward Magnus and Lance, grabbing Magnus' arm and trying to pull him away. They're connected already. Dang it, I was too slow. Magnus' deep violet was swirling and intertwining with the silvery violet of Lance's sigh. I let out an anguished cry, unsure of what to do. Magnus' hands were clamped on Lance's shoulders and neither of them was responding. In a final desperate attempt to stop him, I threaded my sigh into both of theirs. Instantly, the mental presence of both Magnus and Lance filled my mind. Magnus' sigh was winding itself around Lance, trying to absorb him just as he said. I didn't want to hurt him, but I couldn't allow this to continue. I had to somehow force my way between them. Damn it, Magnus! Let go! I tore Magnus away from him in the physical world, while using my sigh to sever the growing link between theirs. That might not have been wise. It felt like it was a clean rip. It was not a clean rip. Oh God. Like a part of Lance's sigh stayed with Magnus, and a part of Magnus's sigh stayed with Lance. Only a small part, but at least they were apart again. Full awareness of my physical surroundings faded back in, and I was on the ground with Magnus. I was so furious at him, so hurt by his willingness to destroy his own life for this, to sacrifice Lance and even himself. But not me. Never me. Every pent-up emotion released at once, and I let out a sob, burying my face in his chest. Magnus, how could you? Milky says it's kinky. We were in the middle of two psychic men. Rue. You idiot! I meant it to sound angry, but instead it came out as a soft moan. What are you trying to do? Don't you? Don't you have enough regrets? That seems like the right interpretation for this chat. Lol, says Esh. My entire chat, you're all going to horny jail. All of you. All of you, especially you, Yuri. Especially you. Milky, you're going too. Both of y'all. You're gonna hurt the person that helped you through what they did to you. How could you? You're gonna sacrifice someone the same way they did and claim it's for a higher purpose. You're gonna make it so you hate yourself even more for the rest of your life so you can hope the future for everyone else is better. You're gonna sacrifice yourself for quote-unquote everyone else. There's other ways, Magnus. I lifted my face to him, ignoring that tears were already flowing. Just stop it. Stop acting like you're the only one who can fix this. Stop deciding everything for yourself. There was something like panic on Magnus' face as I looked at him. You're crying. I never wanted you to cry. He pulled me close for a tight hug. I don't know what else to do, Rue. I don't know how to fix this. I provoked them, and then things didn't go as planned. I don't want you to be in danger anymore. I pulled away and smacked his chest with my fist. How dare you? I don't want you in danger either. I know you're desperate for a solution, but you don't have to do something so stupid. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's sort of a bishop outside flinging cybursts at my shield, and it's not going to hold much longer.
Rue, well, I
got to my feet, whirling around to pin him in place with a glare. There's all of this action and stuff going on. There's intrigue, you know? All of the truth is coming out. And all y'all care about is the gutter. Y'all are all in the gutter. And now we're talking about cicadas. All I can say is that someone as old as you should know better. Now we're giving Lance is catching strays now, okay? Listen, it's not just you, Magnus, okay? It's you too, Magnus. I'm gonna slap you. I'm gonna slap you both around right now. Verbally. And psychically. And maybe physically. Yep. Ash is not me. I'm outside the gutter enabling it. You're in the gutter too, Ash. You're not exempt. Y'all all in the gutter. This entire chat, all of y'all are in the gutter. Okay? Yuri was born in the gutter. Says Yuri. Okay? I didn't say that. Yuri said that. Gutter, all of y'all.
When you say it that way, it makes me sound like an old man.
Are you not an old man? You are an old man. You're ancient. Don't you have the memories of a several thousand-year-old being?
I suppose that's true.
Van, try to hold out for just a little longer, okay? I need to deal with two trifling men. Too late. I flung a wall of psi over the door right as Van's shield gave out. She staggered backwards, catching herself against the wall. Yuri says, listen, why hold back when there's hot men? You do have a point in that. When the first psi burst hit, I flinched under the force of it. Thanks, you saved my tail. That's my job. She gave me a crooked grin as she tried to regain her composure. Lance, you have to come back to the tower with us. I spoke with gritted teeth, trying to keep my focus on holding that shield in place as it came under a barrage of attacks from outside. Absolutely not. Enough. Stop rejecting my idea before you even hear it. You can hear the fighting going on out there. Endgame is destroying itself from the inside out. This was inevitable. I am about 2 seconds from handing you over to Mara and letting her do whatever she wants with you when she's annoyed at you. That's a bit harsh, isn't it? No, it's not. No, it's not. I really don't think helping Van out did much to improve your mood. I was starting to realize why you always threatened to drag him around by the braid. Magnus, you've turned the council into a monster you think can't be dealt with in a reasonable way. I don't know if it's because you've been pushing back against them so long or watching them get their way so long while feeling helpless to stop them. All with the burden of Endgame and global peace bearing down on you. I've also experienced that hopelessness of thinking they're too strong to deal with, but it's just an organization. They're just people with a few annoying espers at their disposal. But we also have people willing to help us too. Some pretty damn good ones. Lance, King, you have a responsibility here. You created Endgame, and now it's struggling. You have to get involved again.
The last time I got involved in the affairs of your people, we began a war.
There's going to be a war if you don't get involved. And no one outside the council has to know who you are. You think any of us are going to share that information? Or that they will? We're not stupid. Allowing others to fight it out when you have the power to intervene isn't justice. And it isn't peace. Neither is sacrificing yourself. Come back to us. Come back with us. Talk to them and dismantle the mainframe with Magnus. Without the mainframe, you're not the planetary AI, just a normal person. Even if you can still control the nanosystem, all king ranks can do that to some degree. No one has to know anything more than that you're a king rank, right? Rue, Then I'll go back and deal with the council myself, right now. I turned away, fully intending to do just that. No, you... Did you forget who you're dealing with? You can't stop me! I'm tired of this situation and how I'm not doing anything else, while others try to destroy themselves and everything else. I might as well join. You can't do something like that. If you hate it, then you should agree to my idea. Lance will never agree to.
I'll do it.
What?
I'll try this plan of ruse. The council might be more willing to listen to me, and if not, we will blackmail them.
If they were so easily blackmailed.
You don't know everything about Endgame, Magnus, but I do. I'm certain I can get them to talk.
That's all good and well, but I hope you haven't forgotten about those guys. By the way, Rue, how are you holding up? Oh, I forgot about the shield. Man, that must be nice. Shields aren't my forte. I was barely holding up here, and here you are half a minute in and already a pro. Lance tipped his head to the side, peering out into the hall. There was a loud boom outside and everything went eerily quiet. In the hall there was quiet scuffling, a confused sound of voices, and retreat. What just happened?
I suppressed the psi of the nano-espers in the vicinity by canceling out the nano-resonance that allows them full use of their abilities. It isn't quite the same effect as your psi inhibitors, but it greatly disrupts a person's ability to manipulate their psi energy. But it's only temporary. The nanites can adapt and reestablish resonance. Consider this as my choosing a side.
He stopped the fighting just like that, with such an overpowered method. Lance has all the dirt, he really does. No wonder people were always after him. I bet the rooks are still at it outside.
Of course, this only works on nano-espers. But it should give your team an edge when peacefully solving the current crisis, yes?
Are you telling me to go out there and threaten to beat up everyone if they don't behave?
I think it would be a compelling argument against further fighting.
Let's go before we find out just how temporary this effect is. I still don't know that your plan will work. It only does half of what I intended to do. I paused next to him, reaching to touch his cheek. It will work. We'll make it work. Trust the others this time. Trust me. You don't have to fight this battle alone, and even if regrets are normal, this doesn't have to turn into one for you. He covered my hand with his own, and let out a shaky breath. I want you to be right about this. I really want that. They could try to take Lance into custody. I'm not afraid to fight back anymore either. Really fight back, not just run away. Esh said he also has a shady enough past. He resorts to blackmail instantly. Are you talking about King? Is that King has a shady past? Everybody's shady. Everybody except for Ari. Ari is a sweet summer child and would never do anything wrong ever. Not Ari. I don't see him having any shade. Now, come on. I have a lot of people outside to go threaten. Yes, we do. Let's go get them. Basically, hi everybody. Are you new here? Are you one of the 80% of people who watch my channel on YouTube, but you are not subscribed? Well, if you'd like to help a small streamer out, give my channel a subscribe, give this stream a like, and go binge watch my stuff, because guess what, Centers? We are going to do a whole lot more of this, and your support helps me keep going. Penny's barking for it, you know? It helps me keep going. And yeah, so if you feel so inclined, I truly appreciate that. I have a lot of people outside to go threaten. Yes, we do. We have some people, some trifling people out there that are attacking us that we need to go deal with. How dare they? Hey, if that guy that stabbed you was out there, want me to hold him down while you punch him? That's actually tempting.
This is supposed to be a peaceful solution.
Lance is a pacifist, isn't he? You know what? I can respect that, actually. But I do think that it's hot that Magnus is not a pacifist. Like, for some reason, I'm trash, okay? I found that to be real hot. She can punch him, like, peacefully. Like, in the gut instead of in the face. Yes, Van. I like the way you think, girl.
Magnus has the definition of peaceful changed in the last few years.
Don't take everything so seriously, Lance. God. Well, our little Vanessa never did make the best of grades, and oof. You deserve that one. I let out a quiet breath. She punched him in the gut, didn't she? I love how they're always giving each other crap. That's how you know they're real friends. It wasn't over yet, but maybe there was hope for a better solution to all this than what Magnus planned. I hoped. Chapter 14, Many Paths. I groaned and leaned back in the chair, stretching my arms above my head. I guess I should stretch above my head. Yeah. Smile crossed my face as I took the cup of steaming tea from him. I fear there are still many long days ahead of us yet. With the most of the council under house arrest, that's understandable. Until we make a final call on what the decision-making body will look like going forward, it will be like this. Hopefully whatever we come up with will be better than before. As long as we come up with a way to check their power, Lance believes it will be. He says it's unfortunate he gave them too much leeway the first time around. Sometimes you can trust someone too much. Between his tendency to trust too much and yours to not trust enough, one hopes we'll find some middle ground. We need that, a middle ground between these people. I am trying to work on that habit. Good. Out of curiosity, just how long is it going to take you to forgive me for what happened? Longer than 2 days. That much is certain. Yeah, you created a mess. That was a mess. You know what you should have done, Magnus, okay? We were all on your side, okay? You didn't have to go run off and try to be a superhero and sacrifice yourself for everybody, okay? You should have been like, let's conspire together, okay? All right? Well, there's a certain allure to your giving me the cold shoulder these days as well. Wow, Magnus. He moved behind the desk, which I'd temporarily taken over because of my lack of an office. We were working on that as well. It was a coup. We staged a coup. We defeated the agents that were attacking us. We're back at the headquarters. We're back at Endgame. And it sounds like Council is now... They're now in prison or something. And we are in charge. Just like it should be. Have you finished the draft of your proposal? It needs more editing, and I think we should reduce the length of time before a public statement. You're gonna have to give the statement personally, I think. A proper press conference for a change. And we still need to decide if we're gonna publicize Lance's existence. As you're aware, that's a whole can of worms. People might come after Lance. You know, it might endanger him if we tell the whole world that he exists. And that he's like merged with an ancient AI supercomputer. You know, and that he's like all-knowing and stuff. A can of worms? What an unusual idiom. Sorry, you pick up some odd sayings like that when you spend a lot of time reading ancient literature. That's adorable, Ash. It does seem apt, if strange. Why would anyone have a can of worms? Are these live worms? Either way, it sounds revolting. These are all good questions. I was happy to see he was back to his usual self. Well, mostly. You know what? I have seen a can of worms in a Resident Evil game. You know, there's like a can, and there's worms and maggots in there. A can of worms. I wonder if they were thinking about that when they added that in the background of Resident Evil. Fishing for Magnus, we need bait. That's what the can of worms is for. God. He's not a fish, Yuri. Okay? He doesn't eat worms. I was happy to see he was back to his usual self. Well, mostly. He was back to teasing and making odd remarks about everything. But he was less grim, and not as violently desperate to destroy all things that made our lives painful. It was a relief to see those traits fading, though I still had moments of concern. It was just that he'd become more clever at concealing them. That's always an option. That's always a possibility with him. Why don't you stop for the night? You can take it up again tomorrow, and we'll ask Lance his opinion on the matter. He knows best. I nodded, pushing the digital display I'd been working on away as I stood. I guess I can. If you want to fish for Magnus, you need cookies and an insurrection proposal. Good one. Leaning against the desk, I picked up the mug he'd placed there, taking a sip. The tea scalded the tip of my tongue, but was good. I closed my eyes, inhaling the fragrant steam. I can't smell it right now because my nose is all clogged from allergies. How long do you think the council will be obedient? It's difficult to say. With Lanta's presence, they've come face to face with this idol to which they're willing to sacrifice anything. It will take time for that shock to wear off. But without the Furies or anyone else at their disposal, it doesn't matter. The Furies? They hadn't been disbanded, much to my dismay. Magnus had suggested it was unwise to get rid of a team Endgame did truly have need for. But let's just say they were on administrative leave for the time being. That group had never been meant as the Council's personal army, and they needed to be reprimanded for some of their actions too. What does the Furies do again? Are they're like a military? They're fighting force, right? They're covert ops. Oh, I forgot about that. Assassins and stuff. Got it. The Council's ability to give anyone orders had been rescinded for the time being. Magnus was hesitant to do much more than that. To me, it was just an indication that change would come slowly, and some things may never be to my liking. Are you still thinking of the long-term roadmap for shifting Endgame's propose away Are you still thinking of the long-term roadmap for shifting Endgame's purpose away from just protecting King? Yes, I have in mind some legislation to present to the Triad to adjust ESPA policies and procedures. If they come aboard, the rest of the world will follow. He picked up the display I'd left on the desk, flipping through it. I see. So your goal is to blame the situation on an attack on Avalon by an unnamed group. Yes, it's not that far from the truth. There was an attack there. By someone we are mostly certainly not going to name, even though it was you. I thought you were referring to the Furies. They didn't go after King. You're not going to let that go, are you? No. Stupidity needs to be remembered, so we can learn from it. That's a good point. You're so cruel. What worries me is how much you like it. The damaged AI, unable to be returned to its former state, had to be severed from the mainframe and permanently taken offline, leaving the mainframe vulnerable to attack, thus spurring us towards a solution of redistributing control. I don't think we should announce that part until everything is in place to begin rolling out the changes. That way, no one can complain, because there's no time for it. Hi, Champy. Welcome, Stunner. Especially given that we're planning to reroute more power to the night side and allot automated resources to repair some of their infrastructure. I imagine the way we've planned to divide up access to the solar array is going to cause the most upset. No doubt, the rollout plan is quite aggressive. I hope you realize. I don't think we have a choice. There's going to be pushback on it, a lot of pushback. That's why I wanted to roll out the changes to the night side domes first. But since they don't have the infrastructure in place to handle full control of the dome level with no warning, we also need to make sure we have teams available to send so we can help anyone who needs it. As well as be prepared to send teams to handle the upheaval it's going to cause. If they let us, there's no denying this won't be easy. Well, I knew that from the start. It's easier having multiple people working on this from our end, instead of doing it alone. Finally, he says that. Yep, he finally got that message through his thick skull. Well, if you get the best ending, you are about 3 minutes from doing it. Again. Yes. He slid closer to me, wrapping an arm around my waist and laying his head on my shoulder. I'm still struggling with it a little. I got so used to not trusting anyone that even if I trust you, it's a little difficult to not default into just taking it all over and doing it my way. All these meetings and discussions and plans are exhausting. Tyranny is always the easier approach, and to a degree, we're still forcing this change on everyone. Otherwise, it would never happen. But at least we can support each other through it, with this entire organization behind us. He leaned to press a soft kiss to my lips. I love it when you talk like that. It's so sexy how powerful you are, Rue. And also how right you are. You're always right. Yes, you're right and I'm wrong. That's the hottest thing a man can say. I know. We stood there for a long time with his head resting on my shoulder, one of my hands threaded through his long hair. It was a quiet moment to catch our breath. Inhale, exhale. Actually, what Magnus is thinking in this very moment, as Rue would say, real. My hand found his and squeezed. And the moment passed. He straightened and took a seat behind his desk. I hope you didn't tell me to take a break intending to keep working yourself. I need to touch base with Lance on something. Then I'll leave you be. I was going to go to the infirmary anyway. Then we'll see each other later. Of course. I leaned down for a kiss before leaving him there. Mwah! I got an award! I got an achievement for Magnus. Passionate ending. Yes! Passion! That's what I want! He loves me, okay? This man, he's down bad. He's desperate for me. We're meant to be together. Yes, we're passionate. Veronica was still recovering down in the infirmary, which meant Van had been spending a lot of time down there since we'd been back. I'd also been checking in, more for Van's sake than for Veronica. We always check on Van, and Veronica is trifling, so we're not really there for you, Veronica. You could have handled things way differently, Veronica. Way differently. Things were still awkward between the two of us, but one day I wanted to talk to her. She'd also gone through a lot, lost a lot. You know, we can patch things up, I suppose, you know? It didn't justify the way she tried to use me, but I hoped with the changes we had in mind, she would find peace too. Though things were never that easy. Not when it came to letting go of trauma, and nothing we could do would bring back what she'd lost. She did lose a lot. It wasn't fair. These people, they're gonna need a lot of therapy. They have a lot to unpack. But during one of my visits when she was awake, she thanked me in a subdued voice and said she knew I would find a way. I forgive you, girl. I forgive you. Just don't ever try it again, okay? Next time, talk to me. Just talk to me. We'll figure things out together. There was so much relief in her voice, it was difficult to stay angry at her. The same goes for Magnus. Magnus, next time, before going rogue and trying to sacrifice yourself, even if for the greater good, just talk to me, okay? Because guess what? My plan is better than your plan. Your plan is stupid and won't work, as they say in Guild Wars, okay? Right, Magnus? Just talk to me next time. We'll figure this out. Also, I'm right and you're wrong. Doesn't that feel so much better? After a brief visit with Van, I returned to my flat and threw myself face first on the sofa. I wonder what Magnus and Lance were discussing. Probably me, you know. The last few days had been a whirlwind. starting with quietly storming the council room as soon as we got back. By which I meant we teleported in, and Lance introduced himself. That had been an experience. He announced he was taking ownership of Endgame again. Just like that. Lance was like this.
You done messed up. I'm taking over now. Alright? Y'all trifling. Alright? You failed. Alright? You died. I'm the boss now. All of you report to me. Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. I was there. They pushed back. But what were they going to do against 9 elite espers when their little gang of assassins had been put in lockdown in the wastes? Yeah, not much. Lance told them all how it was going to be going forward, with a smile.
Listen, you little worms. This is how it's gonna be from now on, okay? You're gonna listen to me. You're gonna do what I say do. And you're gonna stop torturing people and abusing them and, manipulating everybody, okay? We're gonna do things better this time. We're gonna do things right, okay? And hopefully Lance is a nice guy and doesn't become a new dictator. The end.
That's what happened. As he threatened to blackmail them if they didn't submit. Ooh, juicy.
I will blackmail all of y'all's asses, okay? All of y'all, I will blackmail you. I'm gonna tell the world everything that you did. I will expose you. Also, Jerry, I know what you did, Jerry. I saw it, okay? How dare you? Listen, Jerry, everyone is going to know, so you better pipe down. Stop. I don't want to hear it. No. No more talking. Do not talk back to me, okay? You're done, okay? I will tell everyone. It'll be on the news. Everyone will know on the entire planet. On the entire planet. Do you want that, Jerry? Is that what you want? No? That's what I thought. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. I was there. Except for you. Yeah, Jerry. The ruthlessness was a surprise. Wow, that's kind of hot. You know? I kind of like a hot, ruthless, powerful cyborg man with ancient alien knowledge. Just imagine it going down like this and the entire first guard is behind him trying to hold it together and they're all laughing except Ari. And Ari's just raising an eyebrow like, really? Because Ari is so stony, you know, he's such a square, you know, he's just a square. He's so dutiful. He's such a good boy, you know, Ari. But the threat of airing centuries of dirty laundry, including some private things about the current council, did wonders for their will to cooperate. Yeah, we know everything about Jerry now. Everything. Dirty laundry. And now, we were still working out how to put King to rest. Not the person, of course. Lance's safety was secured. It was more the idea of King we wanted to destroy this time. With the mainframe dismantled, he would lose his ability to spread his presence everywhere, so his control of the nanosystem would be limited to his natural psi range. Which was still considerate. It was still considerable. But the issue was dismantling the mainframe. Lance's consciousness was tied to it, and severing that could be dangerous, but Lance thought he could work it out himself. Like untangling a thread and letting himself loose. Even so, there were years of work ahead of us. But I would rather that than a sudden desperate revolution for which Magnus was willing to gouge out every shred of his humanity. Yeah, let's not let Magnus do that. I shut my eyes, still thinking about that, and was quickly asleep. Hi, Magnus. You look adorable. I'm still not totally sold on us publicizing Lance's existence, though it's not without its benefits, I suppose. For one, it gave the council far less leverage. The fewer secrets we had, the less they'd have to use against us. After all, we were readily using theirs against them. It would not do to put ourselves in the same situation. Even if they were under house arrest with limited system access, something that gave me a surprising amount of satisfaction, I worried about it. He came up with it himself. His family holds a lot of sway in Delphine. If they know he's here and if he asks it of them, they will help us with the situation here. And you won't have to worry about that as much anymore. Magnus, his family is Crimson. The thought of their involvement gives me entirely new worries. Oh, his little brother isn't all that bad. He's a criminal. You defied the Endgame Council and ran away with me because they wanted to arrest you. That's not the same type of criminal. Given how hard I've worked this week, I'm tempted to get you to run away with me again. We should. Let's do it. Who knew Lance was such a tyrant? What's he got you doing over there? Must be his inner mafioso. No doubt. He flopped onto the sofa, holding his arms out for me to join him. Oh. You know what? We have a thing with sofas, the two of us. When we'd first got back, I tried to put the brakes on our little romance. It seemed like the right thing to do, just until we got things sorted. We had a long talk, several of them. But even without the pressure of everything crashing down on us, the slowdown only lasted a few days. Yeah, we couldn't resist each other for that long. I knew the worst Magnus had to offer, and I knew the best he had to offer. He had a lot to work out, but I had decided to support him through that. I finally got him to talk to you about his situation. While you wasn't a counselor, Magnus' options were limited when it came to people he wanted to share the full situation with. You had agreed to help. Magnus also told the others the whole story. They had guessed some of it, but not all. That had been a day of tears and some anger. Caleb stormed out of that meeting only to come back a while later, sullen and frustrated, but willing to listen. There had been a painful hug. Literally painful. Magnus was begging to be let go before Caleb crushed his rib cage. Basically, she's making him get therapy, but you is the only option. You is like, oh my God, finally. I can see it now. There had been a lot of airing out of secrets the last 2 weeks. It had made the mood heavy for a while. Then lighter and lighter, now that everything was out in the open. You're thinking heavy thoughts again, aren't you? There's been a lot going on. Yes, but somehow I don't mind it. It feels like proper teamwork, I suppose. It's cathartic, you know. It always feels better. It's better. It feels better when the catharsis happens. Everyone is involved, and I feel less like I'm fighting to keep my head above the waves, less like I'm floating in oblivion all the time. And you're not isolated anymore. You're not isolated. You're not on your own. You have a team. You have people who care about you. You have people who love you. You have people who are on your side. I'm glad to hear that. I realize now how severe my tunnel vision had to become. How fixated I was on one solution and one outcome. You know what? He could have trusted the guard. You know, Caleb, Ari, Van. He could have trusted those people a long time ago. that he chose not to, you know? He chose not to trust anyone, and that's part of his problem. If you hadn't come here, I'm not sure I ever would have been able to consider other possibilities. I have some talents beside just psi mimicking, you know. Oh yes, I'm quite aware of that. Magnus is in the gutter right now. He leaned back against the sofa, pulling me onto his lap as he grinned up at me. Oh, are we gonna have a repeat on the couch? Edge says they do need therapy. Honestly, you is the only endgame love interest who is well adjusted. The rest all need therapy. I believe that. This is where you can have your way with me if you want. Right here in this very office. Oh, my. It sounds more like that's what you want. Oh, look at this CG. We have to look at the CG. Oh. Oh my gosh, they're so beautiful, both of them. I love them. I'm so happy we got the romance ending. I'm so happy we got the good ending, y'all. This is wonderful. I love this game. You told me I needed appropriate outlets for stress relief. I can't think of a better one. I rested my hand on the back of the sofa, wondering how I always let him rope me into these kinds of situations, especially when it didn't matter what I chose. He'd definitely pay it back by doubles later. Yes, pay me back, Magnus. Right now, I want whatever you want. So if you want to... I rested my forehead against his, a slight smile coming to my lips. He acted like that, but I knew I almost always gave in. A smug smile was back on his lips when I opened my eyes to look at him again, just as I expected. My heart fluttered in my chest, as it always did when he looked at me that way. Honestly, this man... I caught his face between my hands and leaned to place feather-light kisses on his mouth, cut his words. Let me kiss you so you'll stop talking. Less talky, more kissy. He let out a soft complaint when I refused to give him a proper kiss. That brought a smile to my lips and made me want to tease him even more, even though I knew he'd pay me back for that later as well. Look at the eyebrow raise. I sat back and gave him a playful smile. You're so cruel. I leaned down and pressed a kiss just below his ear, letting my tongue curl around his earlobe before gently biting it. Magnus shifted sideways, sliding to lean his back against the sofa and settle into a more comfortable position beneath me. As expected, I was half amused as I reached for the cords of the shades. Magnus caught my hand, a smirk playing on his lips. It's getting spicy again, y'all. You don't have to do that. Oh, okay. We're going to be exhibitionists now. I yanked the cord, allowing the shade to roll down, covering the window. It caught halfway, sliding the rest of the way at an angle. You're terrible. We're not doing that, Magnus. Maybe you should punish me. Bye. So we're doing this again. Oh, you don't want to. Because you'll just give it back. And that's the fun part. Punish me how? I rolled my eyes and, despite knowing what he was doing, propped myself up over him. What? Luring me into a trap so you can make a claim for payback later on? Yes. I was trying not to be taken in by those eyes, beautiful and luminous, as they caught glints of the fading light from outside. and his hair, loosed previously from its braid and now spilling over the arm of the sofa. Yes, we are canoodling in the office. He's just too beautiful. I leaned down again, unfastening the front of his collar to kiss the hollow of his throat. I was refusing to play his game this time. One of Magnus's hands found its way to the back of my head. Then, will you be a distraction for me, at least for a little while? Just a distraction, and just for a while. He sucked his breath in as my teeth raked lightly over his collarbone. Chomp. I want you to be a distraction every moment of every day moving forward. There was a soft edge to his voice, quiet desperation that reminded me how much he still sometimes sought escape from this place, if only an emotional escape for the time being. It tugged at my heart, made me want to provide a space for him to rest for a while, for both of us to rest. I slid my hands under the hem of his shirt, smiling this time as he twitched beneath the slow onslaught of my exploring fingertips. And I had to force myself not to take advantage of the newly discovered fact that he was quite ticklish in certain places. Ah, coochie 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 coo. Ah. I moved myself down his body as I inched his shirt higher, keeping my mouth pressed against his warm skin. Except the brief moment I lifted it to move past the fabric, now bunched up at the top of his chest. He sucked his breath in between clenched teeth when I kissed him again, flicking my tongue over the soft, rosy skin of his chest. His fingers tightened in my hair, pulling a little, but not enough to hurt. When my mouth finally traced its way over his stomach, his breathing hitched. I looked up at him, his eyes meeting his, as I caught the edge of his waistband in my teeth to give it a half-mocking tug. He was peering down at me, face flushed, breath coming in quiet pants. The poignant longing in his face sent heat deep to my core, lighting my veins on fire. His head dipped back again, the curve of his neck almost taunting me from my current position. When I moved up again, intending to capture another kiss, Magnus clutched me to him with surprising force. Magnus. I love you. I love that you make me feel this way when I never thought I could. He whispered the words against my lips, voice raspy, dripping with desperate desires. A shaky breath brushed over my lips, and Magnus' hand found my cheek. See that, y'all? He loves me desperately. That's all we're doing right now. We're not doing anything except kissing and telling each other how much we love each other. That's all. Is it? Am I allowed to ask you to stay, even when this is all over? You should know. You don't have to ask something like that. We kissed again, this time a languid, slow taste of each other, one that almost convinced me I had never existed before until that very moment. Yep, head empty, no thoughts. And quickly, just as he wished, everything else was forgotten for a while. The half-concealed window, the city outside, responsibilities. It was just the bite of cool air against bare skin, the warmth of kisses and tangled limbs to wipe it away again. The sight of him still beneath me, hands straying from his hips to rib cage, then to my back to force me down for more of his hungry kisses. A little while later, found us curled together with me resting my head on his chest, wondering if I was too heavy, as the rapid thud of his heartbeat returned to normal. I was feeling one part shame for having done that right in front of a huge window, and one part hope his guard didn't have a habit of bursting in without knocking. Even though I checked the door was locked. Twice. But it hadn't happened so far. And there had been several moments where it would have been awkward, to say the least. One day I will talk to this man about his obsession with doing this in his office. I propped myself up thinking I should get the rest of my clothes back and wondering he'd thrown them somewhere weird again. But I paused to study his face, eyes closed, satisfied smile running 2 fingers down his cheek. I couldn't stop the smile that came to my lips again. He caught my hand, bringing it closer to kiss the center of my palm. There was a playful flicker of his tongue tickling the skin. He was such a brat sometimes. The office is almost bearable with you in it like this. You mean undressed on your sofa? Did you think I meant something else? Personally, I'd love if this was a permanent change, but I suppose the others would protest. I would protest, thank you very much. His smile faded as he held my hand close to his cheek. It really is selfish of me to ask you to stay here, isn't it? Since when have you been worried about being selfish? Since I began to see how my selfishness could come back to hurt you. Oh, I already said I'm staying. You don't have to stay active. Or you could move to the research division. We have a section that studies eerie and... I covered his mouth with my hand. How many times have we had this discussion? I don't know. It would be nice if Veronica could repair the damage she'd done to his memory, but I imagine she'd have done so already if she could. Too many, and I'm not deciding on that until everything else is settled. But I am staying here with you, regardless of what division I'm in. Part of me feels that if you chose not to, I'd gladly find a way to tie you down here. Is there a little bit of a yandere in you, Magnus? And part of me is sorry you're choosing to stay here instead of going elsewhere, where you can be happier. Definitely not a yandere. It's a curious feeling to be so torn between two wants. He just loves us, okay? He loves us desperately and he just wants us to be together all the time. That's so sweet. That's so romantic. I love him. He sighed. I had a feeling when I met you that things were going to change when you joined Endgame. And I was right. I didn't realize you would change me as well. Oh, everyone changes all the time. I'm very glad to have met you. I can't quite bring myself to regret that. Oh. I never asked you to regret anything. I settled in against him, deciding it couldn't hurt to stay like this a little longer, just a few minutes. My eyes fluttered shut, and I promised myself I'd get up before I fell asleep. Magnus might not mind scrambling for clothes the next time someone knocked, but I definitely did. But it was nice to just be like this, just the two of us. We might not be able to find many more moments like this for a while, so just a little while longer. I wanted to enjoy it. Oh, I loved that. They're so lovey-dovey and precious, and I love it. Oh, that was a good steamy scene. Ash says, while having my headphones off because I had to retreat, I was thinking, man, the sofas in this game get a lot of action. Haha. Yeah, exactly. Yes, they do. I was mentally going through all the other sofa moments. There's more sofa moments? Wow. Ash says a little. He was originally going to be much more yandere. But remember on the call when I said there was a time when the indie space was moving away from dark romance and yandere. I was afraid people wouldn't like the yandere vibe, so I toned him down. Oh, I see. And if it was coming out right now, you probably would have made him go full yandere, you know? There are sofa moments in at least 2 other routes, maybe 3. Oh, good to know. Have you seen my notes for the meeting? Kitchen counter. Ah, thank you. My stylus. Coffee table. Ah, yes, I see it. Goodness, I wonder how I ever managed to find anything before I met you. That's totally how it is. It's like that. My husband will be looking for stuff, and I'll be like, it's on the cabinet on the right-hand side. Or he'll be looking for keys or something, and I'll be like, it's on the desk over there, underneath that piece of paper. You know, and sometimes I'll be like, let me just get it for you. Well, as I recall, you always managed. It just took longer. I grabbed the white jacket, pulling it on as I headed for the door. As I passed Magnus, he snagged me around the waist and pulled me in for a quick kiss. Oh, so romantic. Don't start, we're gonna be late. What a pity. Don't give me that. Lance has no qualms about interrupting us when you try that. Ah, that's true. Though I admit the look on Caleb's face when Lance tells everyone he caught us. Okay, stop that thought right now. We are leaving. We could just join the meeting from here. No, because I know what you're going to try to pull if we don't have a chaperone. I swear, some days you're no fun at all. Magnus, we can't just hang out in my room and make love all day long every day. We can't just do that all the time, okay? We have to leave sometimes and be responsible adults. The vote today is merely a formality. You don't have to look so anxious. But the investigatory body... But the investigatory... But the investigatory body was my proposal. So I can't help but feel nervous. It was my idea. He was right, though. With the new 13-member council, over half of which was made of espers, if we counted Lance as the ranking member, it was unlikely to go badly. We now will have representation on council as we should have had from the very beginning. And even the 6 members who were either on the previous council or had been appointed to replace one of those members. We could count on several votes. But passing an independent oversight committee with the power to investigate ethics problems was going to be an important accountability for Endgame moving forward, real. And it was one of the many changes the new council had implemented. Now that the important divisions within Endgame had representation on the council, yes, from medical to research to the forces, things were stabilizing. Though it was still rocky at times too, especially dealing with the changes affecting things outside Endgame, the changes to the mainframe, releasing information about the AI, some of which we knew wasn't strictly true, which made me feel bad, even if it was for the best. And an upcoming proposal to the UTG, Delphine, and several of the larger city-states on the day side to alter their current statutes regarding espers in Endgame's jurisdiction. But even with all of that ahead of us, things were changing. For the better. That was the important part. We're changing the entire planet. You know, we're making things better. Society is improved. All over the place, not just here. Magnus and I settled in, and then signed into the meeting to find we were, surprisingly, not the last to arrive. Dr. Sasuke arrived a few seconds after us.
Well, now that everyone is here, let's get started. We have a lot to cover today. First, I want to recognize Queen Rank Rue Jitterrue to speak in favor of the proposal for a new oversight committee. We will have a final vote after. Rue?
Ooh, so official. Magnus gave my hand a squeeze. I smiled back at him, taking a deep breath, and began to speak. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to my speech. Hi, I'm jitterrue, and I am now about to be in charge of everybody, okay? You may now call me your majesty. I am a queen rank after all, okay? Okay? Listen, everyone will respect me from now on. No more kidnapping, okay? No more trifling, all right? From henceforth moving forward, okay? Magnus, you know, will have to do everything I tell him to do, literally. But he won't mind it because he's down bad for me. He loves me. He's desperate for me, okay? He wants that cookie. So he will willingly do everything I tell him to do. And then for everyone else, okay, listen, okay? No more kidnapping, no more attacking in the middle of the night. All of that, stop it. Stop it. Get some help right now. Just like the internet meme, okay? Also, don't forget, I'm in charge now, okay? Don't forget, you may call me your majesty. All right? And you may start by bringing me snacks. That's really important, okay? I require multiple snacks a day, okay? My favorite kind of snacks, all right? I also require mint chocolate chip ice cream. It's my favorite kind of ice cream. And once a day, just a little bit of ice cream, okay? I'm still trying to be healthy, okay? Just a little bit, all right? Also, Caleb, stop sassing me all the time, okay? Listen, Caleb, from henceforth moving forward, every time you sass me, I will sass you back tenfold, okay? And you have to take it. Them's the rules. Them's the rules, everybody, okay? All right? Also, let's all appreciate these what? Something about dinosaurs. Wow, you have a friend since dinosaurs roamed the earth. Let's appreciate these credits. Good job to the whole team. Esh and the team behind Gilded Shadows. Y'all did a wonderful job. You did fantastic work. This is one of my favorite Otome games ever. I highly recommend this game, y'all. I would recommend this game to anybody who wants to play Otome games. Anyone who's interested in visual novels, if you like sci-fi, adventure, romance, all of that together, you should play Gilded Shadows. It is available on Steam. I give it a 10 out of 10, y'all. High, top-notch, full scores. Full scores, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, I would romance Magnus again. Listen, I love Magnus. I thought he was a great love interest. I enjoyed his route and I enjoyed him. I thought he was great. I don't know why he's the least popular one. People are crazy, okay? They trippin'. Magnus is wonderful. He's perfect, okay? I like that he's not too goody-goody. I like that he's a traumatized sad boy. I like that. I like that he's hot and he's beautiful. I like that. And I like that he's funny, you know? I think it's hilarious that he gives everybody crap all the time. But he's well-meaning. Yeah, he's a liar. Yeah, he tries to go off and do things on his own. And he did create a lot of his own problems, you know? Like a lot of the isolation issues that he was having, he did a lot of it to himself. We now know. But it wasn't his fault, okay? Nothing was his fault. He's innocent. Even though he did ditch us that one morning and tried to like go take over the world and like sacrifice himself and Lance with him and like take over like the world government and give it to the people without consulting anybody, without thinking about how that could have maybe, I don't know, started the most gigantic civil war of all time. He did do that. Yes, he did. That being said, it's not his fault, okay? Okay? He's perfect. We love him. Yay, Magnus. Honestly, though, I really do love him. He's one of my favorite husbandos now. He's one of my favorites. And I love that he's a trash bando. I do. Y'all, I love this game. Okay, you know what? I promised all of you that I would go and get all of the endings from Magnus's Route. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to load an earlier save. So we're in Magnus's actual route. And then Esh is gonna help me. And we're gonna pick other answers to stuff. And we're gonna see if we can get all the ending. So this time, if I wait for him for a little while before doing anything. Okay, let's do that. Let's see what happens. It might be best to wait for now. Not too long. But rather than risk an unknown, I could give him time to come back from wherever he'd gone. For all I knew, even using my psi could alert someone to my presence if they were already looking for us out there. Yeah. I glared at the ceiling. Why couldn't he tell me where he was going or what was happening? Why did he always leave me out of the loop and do things on his own? How dare! I hated feeling like he had ulterior motives for bringing me out here. I hated the way it made me doubt him. Grabbing one of the sofa pillows, I rolled onto my side and glared at the door, daring him to come in. But of course, he did not. Though if using the system was dangerous, I wasn't sure how he could have left me a message, maybe written a note from dead plant leaves or something. My sulking was interrupted by my stomach letting out an embarrassingly loud growl of protest for my not having eaten since yesterday sometime. I rolled off the sofa with a groan. Much as I did not want to rifle through someone's kitchen, I really did need food before my stomach decided to eat itself as punishment for neglecting it. Magnus had an hour. 1 hour. And if I didn't hear from him, or if he didn't come back for me, I would message him and search the area myself. If anyone paying attention caught on to my location, if anyone caught on, I wasn't sure what would happen. I would have no hope for the best. I would just have to hope for the best. That said, I still reached out with a tentative sphere to keep an eye on my immediate surroundings. I wouldn't reach out very far, though. Hopefully, it wouldn't be enough for anyone who was looking like Ari to notice. And for the time being, I went to the kitchen to seek out food. I'd have to apologize to the owner later on. Fortunately, there was plenty to choose from. So many fresh vegetables. They were most likely grown in his own greenhouse, too. Fresh oranges. That's definitely a theme between the two of us. Oranges. How did he even have those out here? Sorry, I muttered the word to no one as I swiped an orange because as guilty as I felt taking food without asking, I was definitely eating that. Yep. Though I tried to distract myself with breakfast and cleaning up, I found myself watching the door for Magnus. Which was stupid because I'd know if he was anywhere nearby long before he reached the door. Poor MC is just making food, cleaning up, and just patiently waiting for Magnus, and he's never coming back. Oh my god, that's horrible. The hour crawled past. By the end, I was sitting on the sofa with my knees pulled up, glaring at the door and imagining how I was going to let him have it when he returned. And that alternated between being terrified something had happened, and I was sitting here waiting while he died somewhere alone. What if he never came back? What if no one ever came back? Which was a stupid worry, because I could get back to civilization alone if I teleported. Maybe. We had driven pretty far out into the wastes. I didn't even know how far because I'd slept. I had just about worked myself into a new panic when I sensed a familiar presence enter the edge of my sphere. Magnus! For a moment, there was nothing but relief. Then the anger swept back in. Damn him! Flinging the pillow on the sofa, I stalked to the front door. This was not going to happen again. I realized immediately Magnus was not alone. When I got outside, there was another person slumped in the car. Chin tucked to their chest. Eyes closed. What? Magnus? What did you do? That caused me to hesitate. What did he do? And the look on his face as he got out of the car. He glanced my way, and for one staggering moment, there was a look of such pain and weariness that my anger evaporated. For a moment, I stood there, where I was, unsure how to approach him. When I did, it was with more hesitance than I'd been feeling before. I know you have questions, but the others will be here soon. We're going back to Cor Solaris. Wait, what? And who is... It's my friend, Deimos, though he goes by Lance now. Is he hurt? Yes, in a manner of speaking. What happened to him? I hurt him. He swallowed hard and wouldn't meet my eyes. What? Leave him there for now. He's unconscious, but doesn't have any injuries. We'll be taking him back with us. He swept past me, but I caught his arm, dread growing in the pit of my stomach. Magnus, what did you do? His expression was strangely dead. It wasn't the usual mask. It was just nothing at all. What happened? He never finished. The others are here. Ari is so reliable. He walked past me, pulling his arm from my grasp. Somehow it felt like he was walking beyond my reach for good, and I didn't know why. When I turned, I already knew the others would be there. Everyone was on edge, and I still had no idea what was happening. Did you actually go insane, you bastard? What the hell was that ultimatum? Ultimatum? You're asking that after knowing me these last 10 years. Haven't I been insane since they destroyed me back then? What's going on? You don't know? She doesn't know anything. I'll be releasing her back to her family soon anyway. So don't bother questioning her. If you all understand this situation Endgame is in, stop asking foolish questions and get us back to the tower. Caleb, there's a man in the car that we're bringing along. Caleb's jaw worked furiously, but Magnus ignored him and went straight to Ari. Take me back first. You can return for the others. It's a bit much for one trip anyway. Ari visibly hesitated and then nodded, and they were gone. Chilly wind moaned through the buildings as Caleb went to pull the unconscious man from the car. Did you really not know anything, Rue? No. He left while I was asleep and got back right before you arrived. What's going on? That asshole took over the mainframe, which means he either somehow bypassed or shut down the AI in the process. What? The council located the two of you early this morning. They mobilized the Furies to come here. They tried to mobilize us, but we weren't cooperative. Ari, the only person who could get us here right away, had a mysterious headache and severe exhaustion for all the good it did us. Then, out of nowhere, Magnus contacted the council and said the mainframe was in his control and the AI was permanently offline. If they harm him, the mainframe is set to shut down. All of it. That would send everything into chaos. Exactly. They can't touch him because everything is in his control now. How can one person control the entire everything without the AI? We don't know. But why? Because it was the only thing he could do to save you. The council has to do what he says now. He just took over. Just like that. But that's...
We need to go. I believe things will be quite chaotic for now. Magnus has indicated he plans to have the council incarcerated. It will be announced soon. They are following along for now. I believe we should be there.
Now it's me. I didn't even know what else to say. It was like he was holding the world hostage to make the council do what he wanted. Why this? Was this why he had come here? Or had he made the decision when he heard the council found us? And this Lance person, what role did he play in it all? What had Magnus done to him? The thing is Lance was a willing participant, you know. Lance did not try to resist at all. Him and Lance, the two of them, they were like, yeah, we're doing it. I had no answers as Ari teleported us back to the tower. I only hoped I would get them soon. Mom, we're back with our parents.
I'll see you this evening. Your father is looking forward to dinner together. He wants to hear about your new classes.
I'll see you both then. The call disconnected. And for a moment I looked up, tipping my head back with a sigh. It had already been a month, and I still wasn't used to this again. Being back. Everything that had happened at Endgame felt like a dream. One that was rapidly fading. This was the same cafe where I'd met Magnus for the first time, and even that memory had already begun to fade a little. Oh, how sad! Like a ghost that didn't want to be remembered. I'd almost not believe any of it at all if I didn't still have limited contact with Van. Only Van. It didn't surprise me that Caleb and Ari didn't keep in contact, but Magnus. It hurt how suddenly he'd cut me out of his life. Van wouldn't even tell me how much about what was going on there, now that I'd been released from active duty and allowed to return home. The fact alone told me that what Magnus did he believed was for my good, though I knew it wasn't the only person. He probably thought it was for everyone's good. Lethe, the others who he saw as bound to Endgame. Everyone but himself. Because he carried the burden of controlling everything now. Did he think this would make me happy? Being forced to join, being forced to leave. What did it matter when either way I was being forced? The Endgame Council, as Ari said, had been dissolved and arrested. Information about the cloning program had gone public, some of it. It was the justification for their dissolution and arrests. The only time I saw Magnus after I left was in a single interview, where he spoke about the reforms going on within Endgame. I knew there was much more to that story. What hadn't been made public was that he was in control of the mainframe, or how he had managed that. But Van intimated that might not stay secret long because his plan was to slowly release control, decentralize everything. Thank goodness for Van telling us all the tea, and in doing so, relieve Endgame of the pressure to protect it, because it and King no longer would exist. King. A being Magnus had once called his friend. Van and the others could only guess at the connection between King and the man Magnus had brought from the wastes. Fortunately, the first time we got the passionate ending. Now we're just collecting other endings, okay? Y'all, don't cry. It's gonna be okay. I'm here for you Pookie Bears, alright? Alright, stunners. We had happiness, and now we must have angst. But she wouldn't share any of that with me. She said the one time she asked him what he had really done out there in the wastes, all he'd said was that he devoured God for the sake of everyone else. A reference to destroying the AI, or maybe it wasn't as simple as just destroying it. It was clear he was never going to tell anyone. Now Endgame is rolling out new Esper policies in conjunction with the unified Triad government, Policies that would allow me to remain a normal citizen. I just didn't understand why he had taken the responsibility for this all on himself, like always. Never relying on anyone else. Alone in that tower, playing villain to try to fix whatever was broken. Maybe even breaking more things in the process. I squeezed my hands together, as always, doubtful what I should do, unable to move forward, unable to go back. Why did it have to end this way? That day, would it have made a difference if I somehow found him and stopped him before he did whatever he did? I realized why Lethe had been so caught up in the future and possibilities. It was too hard to live with regret and exhausting to constantly wonder what would have happened if. And heartbreaking to know you'd never get the chance to make a different choice. I swept my hand down my face, trying to wipe away the tears threatening to fall. I pushed my chair back and left the corner cafe. But I stopped once, glancing back at nothing and wondering if, no. It was pointless. I turned again and walked, making a mental note I wouldn't go back to that cafe again. It was time to do my best to move on. My heart is broken. It didn't have to be this way, Magnus. You didn't have to do this. You didn't have to do this. I understand why. Also, look at his thigh. So muscular looking. You know, I bet he's got cake. Real. I got distracted. I'm supposed to be sad, not thirsty. It was time to do my best to move on. Checkmate. Magnus's bad ending number 3. Divided. Out of nowhere. Also, look at his thigh. I'm a problem. I'm the problem. It's me. Also, how dare? Magnus, no! How could you do this to me? Why? I reject this ending, but I did like that CG. It was beautiful. Not until you explain what's going on. All right, we're going to make him explain himself. Magnus? But there was something Magnus wasn't telling me. Things that didn't add up. He seemed to know something about Lethe, but instead of telling me everything he was pushing for, what? Running away. How far would we even get? I need you to tell me what's going on, Magnus. There's no time to explain the situation in detail. Don't you understand? It could be minutes before someone else realizes the council has been cut off. It's hours at most. Look at his face. He looks so intense and adorable. We need to be far away by then. Running away has always been a last resort. We are at the last resort, Rue, or don't you trust me? Trust. Do I trust you? I did, or I wanted to, but it was difficult in moments. It was obvious he was keeping important things from me. Okay, let's see. I want to trust you, Magnus. I really do, you know? But now I know I can't trust you, you know? I still love you, though. I still love you, even though I know I really can't trust you. Yep, he's keeping really important things from me. Or I did, or I wanted to. But it was difficult in moments. It was obvious he was keeping important things from me. I wanted to trust him. Rue, we knew it would come to this. We talked about it, right? There was a strange pleading edge in his voice. You sound like you've already planned everything out. To a degree. For years, I've tried to stay one step ahead of them and plan for every possibility. That means planning for everything, escape, take over, tearing this place to the ground so there's nothing left, revealing everything, changing the world if I need to. You can't actually be surprised by it. It's just... We had talked about it, but now that the moment was here, I was reluctant. It was a point of no return, something we couldn't walk back after we did it. I don't think it's wise to go alone, not when one of us doesn't even know all the details. If we mobilize the entire guard, we'll be noticed. He looked away. And they'll try to stop us. I'm not strong enough on my own. You also have me. But your abilities are necessary for teleporting us out. I suddenly remembered him watching my teleporting sessions with Ari, sessions he pushed for. Ari had been thinking short-term escape plans, just to get me out of an immediate confrontation. Magnus had already been planning something bigger, hadn't he? Yes, he has. Magnus, I think we need to talk to the others and come up with a more direct plan. Something to deal with the problem, not just leave. No, Rue. There's no reasoning with them at this point. You weren't at that meeting. You don't know them. I do. I know how they are. They'll destroy you if they think it'll make you more obedient. He grabbed me by the shoulders, that feverish light back in his eyes. There was something frightening about his behavior. Honestly, I believe what he said just then. I believe what he said was true in that moment. Frantic, almost frenzied. Let's just go. Let's get out of here. Do you realize what will happen when we're gone? They'll have to fix things, and we can find a way to... Magnus, let me go, please. His eyes went wide. He stepped back, laughing again. This man is breaking in front of me. Laughing hard enough, tears sprang to his eyes. He planted his palm against his forehead, laughing hard. Wow, I failed all around, haven't I? Just like always, I couldn't protect a damn thing, not even you. It's not over yet. Let's... For a split second, it was like the air had been sucked out of the room, and at the same moment, like a lightning bolt went through my body. The feeling of foreboding rocketed through me. I whirled around, throwing up a shield a second before the fist connected with it. Shit! It was the people from earlier today. I recognized them right away. Not those people. How dare! Oh my gosh. Y'all, I'm definitely in an ending. I think I'm definitely in an ending. It's the bowl cut people. The bad haircut people. My gosh. Okay. I'm ready to fight. I'm gonna fight him. I reached for Magnus, but someone else had already grabbed him and taken him to the ground. I'll be back for you. The first thought I had was to find Van and the others. Did we just abandon him? I expanded my sphere and relocated to the garden where I expected Caleb and Ari would be. That's a beautiful garden. There wasn't time for a protracted search, so I made my best guess. I don't think I've seen that garden at night before. Teleporting with the shield was something I hadn't mastered yet, though, which is why I stumbled into the garden and realized I'd predicted that move 2 seconds too late. I felt more than heard the sigh burst. It was point blank. I didn't even finish the thought before the strange and painful static exploded in my mind as I went down and everything just stopped. Checkmate. Magnus bad ending number 2. Point blank. I paused, taking his hand and giving it a squeeze. It will work. We will make it work. Just trust me. Just this once. There was hesitation on his face, but he squeezed my hand back. I will try. They could try to take Lance into custody. I'm not afraid to fight back anymore either. Really fight back. I remember that. You didn't have to come back down here to check on her again. I know. I guess after hearing what was going on all this time, I just wanted to talk to her a little. It was a shock to find out she was working with Magnus on some things, but at the same time it explains a lot. I never knew she was holding in so much anger over what happened. It seems like it was a defense mechanism for them both, to keep the council at bay. They put up this front of being loyal. Or just being an idiot in Magnus's case. Real. I hope she's able to find some peace now that things are changing. I hope so too. But sometimes finding peace isn't quite that easy. But she woke up earlier for a while. She said she knew you would find a way. So maybe this was all what she planned. I'm going to be heading home now. The new ranking council member has called an early meeting tomorrow. I think he forgets the rest of us still need normal levels of sleep. We'll have to remind him tomorrow then. I fell on my sofa face first as soon as I was back to my apartment. All right, the last couple of days had been a whirlwind. First was getting back to Cor Solaris with everyone, and then had been the quiet storming of the council room. By which I mean we just teleported in and introduced Lance, much to everyone's shock. And he announced he was taking over just like that. There was pushback, but, well, what was a group normal people going to do against 9 elite espers who'd finally had enough? Nothing, really. Especially after Lance politely threatened to air every piece of dirty laundry from the last couple of centuries, including some very private ones from the current council members. Especially you, Jerry. He could be quite ruthless when he wanted to be. When I told him that, he informed me he used to be in the Mafia, after all. Since that moment, we'd been working to figure out how to put King to rest permanently, along with the mainframe. Yeah, Jerry, you know what you did. Exactly. Hence my working on a lengthy proposal for how to handle that at the public level. Obviously, King would continue to exist. It was just that no one would know it. And even Lance pointed out that with the mainframe gone, his control of the nanosystem would diminish. One reason it was easy for him to manipulate it was because of being able to spread his presence everywhere through the mainframe's access to all planet systems. With that gone, he'd have to rely on his personal range, which was somewhat smaller. There was the problem that his consciousness was still partially linked to the mainframe, and severing it would be dangerous for him, but he and Magnus were working on a solution to that as well. Yeah, we'll figure something out. There would be a lot of work going forward. Years of work, but no one was going to shy away from that. It was work we all wanted to do. When the door chime went off, I was half dozing already. I'd gotten the habit of checking who it was with my sphere just in case. Is it Pookie Bear? So I wasn't surprised to find it was Magnus. Hi, Magnus. It was already late, but the past couple of days he'd been stopping in anyway to spend some time with me before bed. Oh, he still had a lot of things to sort through before I would feel comfortable with us getting serious, but neither of us was interested in denying our growing closeness. Okay, we haven't boned this time around. Whatever he had to work with, though, I intended to help with it, and our relationship would just develop naturally, without either of us trying to force it. We're friends, but we could see each other being more, you know. But we're not, down bad like we were before. You went to sleep, were you? Do I look like I was? A little. Your hair is all messy. He smoothed it down for me as I let him in. I can always leave and let you sleep. It's fine. Come on in. How is Veronica? Improving still. Van is still pushing to remove her from the Moirai. We have some time yet before we have to make that decision. I think I may allow her to choose. Too many of us have been unable to choose for far too long. That's real. That's the truth. I agree. So, I stopped by to see Lance before I came over. He had an interesting proposition. I'm almost afraid to ask. We were discussing your concerns with the reception to dismantling the mainframe and rolling out things on the night side first. He believes we should announce that he's here. Wow, really? Wow. I'm assuming he's not referring to announcing that he's the AI in human form and all. No, but remember, he's a fianchetto. His family holds a lot of sway in Delphine. With their help, things might go more smoothly. His family also heads a notorious crime syndicate. True, but we use what resources are available to us, don't we? This is the part I will never get used to. You can always go back home. It might be a good way to begin introducing new policies for espers like yourself. No, it's too much at once. And without a security detail, it would just be asking for trouble, right? I think I need to stay here for now. I think it'll be good to stay and make sure the reforms happen as planned. And that a certain someone doesn't go getting weird ideas at the first sign of trouble. Magnus. I'm not. And besides, I kinda like you, so it would be a shame to leave. He let out a soft chuckle, pulling me closer against him. I'm glad. I know I put you through rather a lot. Oh, you did. But I want to stay anyway. Even if I left Endgame, I don't think I'd go anywhere. If you know what I mean. I'm not sure. That sounds a bit confusing. I flicked his forehead before catching a lock of hair on my hand. Boop. You know exactly what I mean. I suppose I do. His arms tightened around me. Thank you for staying. Thank you for everything. Thank you for bringing me here, even though I put you through so much pain. Even then, sometimes the path we're meant to be on is like that. He shut his eyes and rested his forehead against mine. We spent the evening together, curled up on my sofa. There was a long road ahead, but I was glad to be on it with him. Oh, precious. That was sweet. It was sweet. I liked it. I enjoyed that. It wasn't as good as passionate romance, but it was still good. You know what? Just on principle, screw you people. I'm turning it on. I should just try to reactivate the system on principle. If they were trying to prove a point by locking me up, then I could prove a point by reactivating my system. That part, yes, of course. There was no doubt. I'd be digging myself a bigger hole, returning their tactics with something similar. I knew the result. But learning they were willing to turn cameras on in my flat without my knowledge, that they'd place them there in the first place, it was wrong. It was illegal. Yeah. Endgame was, of course, in many ways, above laws normal agencies were held to, but they couldn't be above the law in general. They couldn't do things like this. Otherwise, it meant that we, as espers, had fewer rights than normal citizens. That I couldn't accept. I sat on the sofa and pulled my feet up under me. The problem was that I wasn't actually sure how to manipulate the nanosystem. I might be able to mimic Magnus, We had been working on that, mimicking someone without having just been in contact with them. But mimicking a psi wavelength wasn't the same thing as knowing what to do with my abilities once my psi was in that form. Even so, I shut my eyes and focused my sight inward, imagining my own colorless psi. Right. Magnus's psi was violet. A violet so deep, it looked almost black in the most dense places. That's actually pretty cool sounding. His psi was incredibly dense, even more so than the other guard members too, and its structure was strange, complex, and somehow less organic than the others. Honestly, it was a wonder I'd ever mimicked it at all. You know what? The mysterious types are often associated with the color purple. As I imagined the dark color flooding into my psi, I also attempted to restructure mine to match what I remembered of his. Like everything else they had tried to teach me to do with intent, it was much harder than accidental. My face scrunched up as I solidified the reverse cage around myself, trying to thread my psi into a more structured shape. Pale violet washed in, nowhere near the same color as Magnus, though, and the shape was loose, flowing. Why was I able to do it when I was asleep, but I couldn't manage it now? Figures. I finally flopped over with a frustrated groan. If I'm not trying to get in trouble, I get in trouble. And if I'm trying, my abilities won't cooperate. Somehow that was so like me. I stared up at the ceiling, wondering what would happen going forward. What if it turned out I couldn't function in this place? That their insistence on treating me like an enemy within the ranks made it too much a struggle to continue. Clearly people left. They weren't meant to, they weren't allowed to, but they did. What if it came to that? Would I be able to muster the resolve to leave? No, I knew I would. But what then? Where would I go that they couldn't find me? I clutched a pillow to my chest and squeezed my eyes shut. In the end, I didn't want to think about it. I wanted to make this work. I really was trying. They wouldn't believe me. I sulked most of the day. Not terribly productive, but it made me feel, well, no. I couldn't even argue it made me feel better. Sometimes I suppose one just needed a good sulk. So that's what I did. Off and on, I tried to mimic Magnus' ability, but could never quite get it right. When sleep eluded me, I realized how much of a frustration it was to be stuck in my flat and unable to go for a walk. I tossed and turned for hours, trying to find a comfortable place, trying to cajole myself to just fall asleep. I got up and read for a while, and eventually was back in bed, curled up, sort of half asleep and half awake. That was how I noticed the shuffling around in my room. It's weird. It was a part of my dream as well. But in that way, where part of my brain knew it was real. That was the only reason I didn't wake up right away. Huh? I don't know what finally forced me to wake up, or at least try. It was difficult to just open my eyes, like the sleep that had been so hesitant to visit earlier now didn't want to let me go. I groaned, trying to push my hands away from me. Wait, why? Are there hands? Who is here? There was urgency to open my eyes, see who was with me, what they were doing. I couldn't quite translate that urgency into movement. Sluggishly, I pushed again at the insistent hands. I flailed with my arms, twisted my body, and then another set of hands was holding me down. That finally energized me enough to fight back, albeit weakly.
Lethe, do it.
Silence, then a familiar voice. Very well. How conscious is she? It's difficult to erase memories if they're awake.
Only partially.
I recognized the face that came into view. It was my enemy, Lethe. How freaking dare you? Blurry, dim against the dark of the room. Are you here to kill me? Then this may be a little painful. I struggled harder, trying to form the words to ask what they were doing. Looks like I was wrong this time as well. Her hand was against my forehead and everything went fuzzy. Far away. For a terrifying moment, I could feel her inside my mind, perusing, taking, locking away. I tried to scream. Nothing came out. And everything went black. That was definitely different. I woke up abruptly from a nasty dream. One hand found its way to my forehead as I sat up. I felt terrible, groggy, nauseous. I had a splitting headache. Wow, that didn't go how expected at all. I wasn't expecting to come out of that night alive. I didn't even get to fight. I rubbed my forehead, wondering why I felt like I had a city-sized hangover. And what? Why is my arm singing? Lifting my arm, I spotted multiple long, angry-looking scratches. Not just one arm, but both. What? Even worse things have to happen? Esh! How dare you? This is going to be the trashiest of all the trash endings, isn't it? What the hell? I rubbed my face, the heavy weariness in my body almost convincing me to go back to bed. Based on the light outside, it had to be mid-morning, though. What a crappy night. I dragged myself out of bed, figuring a shower might help me wake up and wash away some of the residual grogginess. The shower helped, sort of. My head was clearer, yet stuffy too, like it was clogged with cotton. Maybe I'm coming down with something. That would be my luck. I might have to contact Dr. Sasaki and let him know I wasn't well. Yeah, you should do that. Now. I shut the water off and stumbled out of the shower, grabbing a towel to wrap myself up. A sudden swell of dizziness almost overwhelmed me as I staggered back into the room. There was a sharp pain in my head that sent me to my knees. I felt the thunderous sound of my heart rumbling through me. My mouth had gone dry as I bent over, head touching the carpet. What? Inside me, something was tearing, breaking. Somehow, the sensation was familiar. This was... A wild spiral of energy ripped its way out of me, tearing a scream of pain from my lips as it ricocheted through the room. Power surge. But why? The words were dim at the back of my mind as the force of the surge sent pain shooting through my body. The powerful tendrils of psi lashed out at the surrounding room. Glass shattered, wood splintered apart, fabric tore, and metal warped.
I tried to recall the sigh, tried to pull it back inside, like neatly folding laundry. I couldn't do it. My sigh twisted away from my control, a writhing, flailing beast, destroying everything around me. Over the noise, I heard the faint sound of the Core Solaris defense system. And finally, I lost all sense of what was happening. There was nothing but the sound of destruction and the internal scream of sigh as it broke everything apart. Even me. Voices.
I could hear them, but the words were beyond my understanding. I should understand them. I knew I should. What? They phrases. And it was silent. Once. More.
Will she wake up? I cannot answer that question. The damage to her body, we can repair. The damage to her mind will take time. What could have caused such a horrific loss of control? I don't know. Power surges can be caused by extreme stress, but I don't believe her situation quite fits that descriptor. There surely was a trigger, but I can't say what it was. Your apartment is right next to her. Did you not sense anything? We all sleep sometimes, Doc. And by the time the surge happened, I was already at work. I imagine the council will not be forthcoming with information either. You think they know what happened? Are you suggesting they don't? They wished to give her a medication that could keep her phoric system dormant during sleep. She refused. But if they did something to her, we will probably never know if she doesn't wake up. And maybe not if she does. She may never regain her memories of the event. Has Magnus been by? He came earlier. He said nothing. You watched her for some time and left without a word. He did. Magnus did. His face was... Whether he knows something, I cannot say. I never should have brought her. I never should have brought her. This place is a death trap for people like her. Don't say that. She's not. I mean, she's alive. Sure. I'm out of here. I will speak with him later. His guilt is understandable. It's time. This time, I get it. Doc, Faru, you have to. I know what I must do. I will keep you apprised of her condition. Thanks. Vanessa, do not look too deeply into this. I do not believe it is wise. For your own safety. I know. And watch Magnus closely. I believe he may intend to act this time, and if he does, it will be something reckless. Yeah, I know that too. Kale was right about something for a change. They should never have brought you here, Rue, jitterrue. Checkmate.
Magnus bad ending number 1. Power surge. That's my favorite bad ending. That was good. It was worth it, y'all. It was worth it trying to figure out how to get it. I'm so glad. We got it. Let's go look at our collection of bad endings. Look at it. 100% ending completion of Magnus's Route. My favorite ones were Passionate and Power Surge, for sure. Those are my 2 favorites. Yes, I finally got it. I have a sense of accomplishment right now, you know? I'm so happy. We have all the CGs, okay? We have to look at all of them and appreciate them, okay? It's time for a CG review. This is when we met him. He had oranges or tangerines, and they spilled all over the place. He was so adorable. He was teasing us, you know? He was trolling us immediately. This man, he sure does like to troll. It makes me love him more. The fact that he messes with us. And there he was at our bedside, he fell asleep. You know what? I was like, what if we knew each other in a past life, you know? What if we knew each other in a past life and we were desperately in love? We're like fated lovers. We're star-crossed, you know? And that's why he fell asleep at my bedside. But it ended up not being quite like that, but still, okay. Still, fated lovers. We're meant to be together. We're a king and a queen, okay? And then he opened his little precious eyes and he looked at me and I was like, oh, Magnus, you're so cute. And then this was one of my favorite moments of the entire game is when we saw him in the gym and he was like, Rue, come to the kitchen with me at 2 a.m. And we're like, Magnus, we're not supposed to do that. He's like, come on, it'll be fun. And we're like, okay. And then we busted into the lounge. And he snuck into the kitchen and started breaking shit in there. I heard banging and stuff. And then he came out with a whole bunch of snacks. We came up onto the couch and we were like eating snacks and drinking tea and stuff. He told me some things about himself. I got to learn about him, you know. And this is when I realized that it's not his fault, okay? He's just a sad boy. He's traumatized and it's not his fault. And then I was like, you know what? This is the moment that I realized that I was desperately in love with this man, you know? We were meant to be together and we're in love. This was the moment. I knew that Magnus was my man. I was like, he's a sad boy. And then, not only that, not only is he a sad boy, okay? Not only is he just a beautiful, misunderstood soul. Okay, all right. Well, then we actually made out. It was great. You know, I streamed this scene twice. It was so good. The kissing was so great that we streamed it twice. We did. Look at how loving and adorable. Look at how like plush everybody's lips are. Also, thank you for the Adam's apple. We like that. The blushing and the big hands. And yes, just perfect. Perfection. Everybody looks stunning. And it's adorable. We love each other. And now we're comforting Magnus. We got injured, okay? We got stabbed. How dare. And Magnus was more upset about it than I was, you know? So we had to canoodle on the couch. We had to like stroke his hair lovingly, you know, comfort him, even though I was the one that got stabbed. Real. He even looks like he's about to fall asleep on our lap. What a sweet Pookie Bear he is. And then, y'all, we ran away together. We ran away together. And we were in somebody else's house. On somebody else's couch. And it got real hot and heavy. Yep, we did that. What if that guy had decided to show up, you know? He could have. He could have been like, you know what? He could have been like this.
Well, maybe I should go home just to get a snack or something. And then, what? What are you doing? Huh? Nikki? Why? What? On my couch. Huh? Well, I wasn't expecting that.
It could have happened. It's a possibility. You know? And then, y'all, And then we got the good ending, you know. We got the best ending. It was romantic, you know. We had more time on the couch. You know, Magnus, he really likes couches, like really likes couches. He really likes couches. And we had a repeat of the last time we were on the couch, you know. But we did spice it up a little bit, you know. It was a little different. It was hot and beautiful and romantic, and he told us that he loved us. He told us that we loved us. Like, we had a couple love confessions, you know. Lots of love. It was beautiful. But then, you know, we got a bad ending. It didn't work out. You know, he went off and did his own thing. He didn't listen to us. You know, he was like, I'm gonna go be a villain. Yes. I'm gonna go and, like, take over the mainframe AI computer thing, and I'm gonna destroy my own friend. And I'm gonna destroy myself in the process. Oh, so I could take away power from this trifling endgame and spread it out across the planet to the regular people, you know? They don't need to be controlled in this way. I'm going to sacrifice myself, and you can't stop me. Rue, I'm doing this because I love you. I don't want you to ever get hurt ever again. But I must take responsibility, even though nobody asked me to. Nobody asked me to go it alone. No one expected me to go it alone, and I never needed to go it alone. But that's exactly what I did. And so we shall be sad and lonely and separated forever and ever and ever. The end. But I reject that ending, y'all. In my mind, this is all that happened. All that other stuff, the trifling, it didn't happen. Esh says Magnus is gonna try to make use of every sofa in that building. Yes, he will. He loves him a sofa. Let's go. It was beautiful and spicy, and I loved it. Y'all, we did it. That was 100% route completion for Magnus from Gilded Shadows. If you're new here, hi, I'm Rue Jitterrue. If you had fun, consider giving this stream a like if you're on YouTube. Consider giving me a subscribe. Yeah. And guess what, y'all? We're going to do a whole lot more of this. Now, that is the end of our stream for Gilded Shadows. If you had fun and you really enjoyed this as much as I did, this is now one of my favorite Otome games that I have ever played, and I have played I've probably played 100 Otome games by now. If I count all the mainstream ones and all the indie ones, it's probably been like 100, maybe more. I played a lot of Otome games, long ones and short ones. Magnus was a long one. But if you had fun, you can get this game on Steam if you haven't played it before, if you don't already have it. There is going to be a sale on it soon for the Steampunk sale. So keep an eye out, put it on your wish list if you want the Steampunk sale, and play the full game. You will not regret it. This game is peak. I love it. Ashberry says, now you just have to complete the others so your entire title screen will be in color. I do. I'm going to play the rest of this game on my own, y'all.